My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226. The eldest daughter of the Cayenne family. Mac's restaurant. Haha. After Peter left, Monica took the check for the tip he left and couldn't help laughing. "What's wrong?" Adam asked curiously. "Take a look." Monica handed the check to Adam. "He's really humorous." "Wow, a tip of $20,000. He's really rich." Adam took it and saw Peter's number and the number 20,000 on it, and couldn't help whistling. "He must be joking." Monica waved her hand. "That's not necessarily true." Adam waved the check. "At least this check should be cashable. It just depends on whether you want it or not." "What?" Monica was stunned and said in disbelief. "Are you saying this check is real?" "It's illegal to write a bad check," Adam reminded. "Don't you notice that his dress is low-key, elegant and profound, and he can be seen as a rich man at first glance?" "Then what does he mean?" Monica's face suddenly darkened. "Who does he think I am?" "Don't blame him. Look at what you are wearing." Adam was about to complain a few words, but suddenly found murderous intent, and quickly leaned back tactically to avoid Monica's pink hidden weapon, and smiled. "I'm kidding." As he said, he handed a brutal pink prop back to her. "You are still at work, and your salary will be deducted if your boss sees you." Monica took it hatefully, stuffed it into her clothes, and it became symmetrical in an instant. "He was very cunning in doing that." Adam quickly changed the subject. "Think about it. He must have known that you are not that kind of woman, so he wrote down such a large sum of money as a tip, because he calculated that you would not cash it, but would ask him for clarification. Then you would meet again, and you would not wear this again, right? Are all rich people so bad?" Monica agreed with Adam's speculation, feeling a little happy in her heart, but pretending to be still very angry on her face. Unfortunately, the person sitting in front of her was the drama queen. Adam glanced at her, took the check and pretended to tear it, and teased, "Yes, rich people are the worst. You must not be fooled. I will tear it up for you." "Don't." Monica snatched it away, and when she saw Adam looking at her, she shouted guiltily, "I will cash it after get off work, and then he will be pissed to death." "Good idea." Adam gave a thumbs up. If he continued to tease her, Monica might really not go to find this Peter. At that time, it would be a headache to chase him and ask him to introduce her to a boyfriend. The next day, morning jogging time, Adam knocked on the door of apartment 520. "Come in." Monica thought he was looking for her, so she said to Adam, "Wait a minute. I'm looking for Rachel." Adam walked straight to the door of Rachel's bedroom. Knock, knock. "Rachel, who is it?" Rachel's confused and angry voice came from the bedroom. Compared with Monica's diligence, even though Miss Rachel has been out for 3 years, she still can't change her lazy nature, and her bedridden temper is the same as before. "It's me, Adam. I want to ask you for a favor." Adam smiled. "What favor?" When Rachel heard it was Adam, she suppressed her anger and shouted without opening her eyes, "Do you want to go shopping?" As soon as Adam finished speaking, the bedroom door opened. Rachel, who was wearing pajamas, stared at him with burning eyes, chomping. "Okay." Where was there any sleepiness or bad temper after getting up? Ahem. Adam glanced at Rachel's pajamas and couldn't help but remind her, "Rachel, you should pay attention. What's the matter?" Rachel glanced at the 2 obvious spots of paint and said nonchalantly, "Who wears that to sleep?" "Come on, what about shopping? You shouldn't wear it to sleep, but you don't wear it when you're not sleeping," Adam complained in his heart. It seems that after Rachel and Ross fell in love, she became more and more casual in this regard. In the later period, she basically appeared in the camera with paint on, and no one knew what was going on. "There is a grand party next week, and I need to take Max to attend." Adam suppressed his complaints and explained, "But Max has never attended it before. She doesn't have a related dress, and she doesn't know some precautions, so I would like you to take her to buy some clothes and shoes, help her dress up, and explain some small details of this kind of party." "Of course, no problem," Rachel said casually. "Whose party?" "Caroline Channing's coming-of-age ceremony party." Adam smiled a little strangely. Caroline Channing, Rachel and Monica shouted in unison. Martin Channing's daughter. The eldest daughter of the billionaire family? You all know her? Adam laughed. Are you kidding? Rachel said excitedly. She's the eldest daughter of the Channing family, the darling of the fashion industry, a true pride of heaven. Who in the whole United States doesn't know her? I heard that she has $800 million in her personal trust, Monica echoed. OMG. I can't imagine how rich this is. How did you get invited? Rachel suddenly looked at Adam in confusion. Adam's mouth twitched, and he said with a fierce face, why can't I be invited? Do you look down on me? No. Rachel said no, but the suspicion in her eyes still did not dissipate. It's just that the eldest daughter of the Channing family's coming-of-age ceremony must invite billionaires, at least half-billionaires. Do you have that much money? Not necessarily all super rich. Monica added, those top socialites will also be invited. Maybe Adam was invited because of his status as a famous writer? This explanation is reasonable and half correct, but why are you so hesitant? Yes, Adam nodded and said, Caroline is a fan of my books, so she took the initiative to invite me. So that's it. Rachel and Monica looked as if they had suddenly realized something, and looked at Adam with envy. But what made Adam unhappy was that Rachel's eyes still had a little expression of "you are lucky." So, this is true? You are really going to attend the eldest daughter of the Channing family's coming-of-age ceremony? Rachel murmured. Ah! Rachel screamed without waiting for Adam to answer, her voice like the sound of nails scratching a blackboard. Take me, Adam, take me, please. Rachel hugged Adam, twisting her body around him, begging him. Do you want to go? Adam smiled. Yes. Not only Rachel, but also Monica looked excited. It can be seen how tempting the most luxurious life is to girls. The phenomenon of tiny times is not only in the East. Do you want to go? Adam asked again. I really want to go. Rachel gave the final answer directly. Sorry, I already have a female companion. Adam pushed Rachel away, showing a helpless expression. Just want to go. The more you want to go, the more happy Adam will be when he refuses. I told you to despise me just now. Chapter 227. Two Broke Girls. 520. Please, please, please. Rachel pestered Adam, begging him. Adam seemed to see Sheldon for a moment, and secretly said it was a pity. If Rachel was a boy, he could still scare her away with various actions that were so sexy that it made people's scalps numb, such as parading in women's clothing. But she was a girl, and although Adam had a lot of ideas, he could only keep it in his heart. Otherwise, it would not be a sexy operation, but indescribable harassment. But he couldn't take Rachel with him, because this was Caroline Channing, Max's future best friend. The two of them. Max has seen the abyss and is not afraid of hell. Caroline fell straight into hell but did not forget her original intention. If the ending of Two Broke Girls was not correct, the two of them should have entered the palace of marriage. After meeting the young girl Max, Adam has decided to take Max on a completely different path. In this way, Max will suffer less and her future will be bright, but the trajectory of her meeting with Caroline has been completely disrupted. Chandler used to joke that the most adventurous experience was to walk around Brooklyn at night and come back alive. The reason why this is a joke is that Brooklyn, as an African-American gathering area, is very chaotic and dangerous. It is common to be robbed when walking there at night. A few dollars in change in your wallet can sometimes save your life, because once you are robbed and there is nothing in your wallet, the disappointed robber may really shoot you. The great and glorious Captain of the United States was born in Brooklyn. Before joining the army, he was robbed and beaten every day, so he shouted out the classic saying, I can get like this all day long. The reason why Caroline Channing chose Brooklyn when she was down and out in the future was because this was a place that the upper-class people in the Upper East Side would never set foot in, and she didn't want her former besties, friends, and acquaintances to see her so down and out. So even though she knew it was so dangerous, she resolutely came to Brooklyn. Fortunately, she knew that she must not sleep on the street, otherwise she would not be picked up by someone, but would be forcibly taken away as a corpse. Smart, she slept on the subway with a stun gun and was very alert until she was taken in by Max. If she stayed a few more days, the stun gun would not be able to stop the criminals who were targeting her. A beautiful girl with long blonde hair and long legs, wearing designer clothes. She was definitely a fat sheep. If this rhythm was disrupted, if Adam did not try his best to guide them, the two of them would never meet and know each other again. So Adam wanted to make up for it as much as possible and give them a chance to meet. Although Caroline was completely a princess at the moment, the $800 million in her personal trust made her even more like a princess than those shabby princesses in Europe. She probably looked down on Max without any setbacks, but this was also a good start. It was better to know each other than not to know each other. As for whether it would work out, that was another matter. Just because they were good friends, Max couldn't be forced to follow the original path and live a hard life in Brooklyn, right? Now as long as they knew each other and met each other a few more times, when Caroline was down and out in the future, she might knock on Max's door. She went to 6 places in a row and knocked on the doors of 6 girlfriends, boyfriends, and good friends, but no one paid any attention to her. It was really miserable. Adam believed that even if Max did not become friends with Carolyn, after seeing such a Carolyn, he would definitely not be like Carolyn's girlfriends who pretended not to hear the knocks. And with Carolyn's intelligence, there is still a chance that she would think of Max, a kind and lovely person, in desperation. Therefore, no matter how Rachel asked, he would not agree. Although he didn't want to admit that Rachel and Monica were right, it was indeed difficult for Adam to get in touch with Carolyn at the moment, and this opportunity was really luck. If you miss this opportunity, it will be difficult to find another one. Hey, cough. Ross came in and saw that his eyes were green. He coughed and forced a smile and asked, "What happened?" "You came at the right time." Adam handed Rachel to Ross. "This is your girlfriend. Hold her tight." Rachel. Ross saw that Rachel wanted to pounce on Adam again, so he hugged her tightly and shouted, "What are you doing?" "I'm going to attend the coming-of-age ceremony of the eldest daughter of the Channing family." Seeing that she couldn't break free, Rachel looked at Ross aggrievedly. "Can you help me?" begged Adam. "Okay, it's just a coming-of-age ceremony. Is it that serious?" Ross said speechlessly. At this time, the difference between men and women was distinguished. Even though he knew the money power represented by the surname Channing, he had no interest or feeling in attending the coming-of-age ceremony. "This is a real coming-of-age ceremony for a rich lady," Rachel said with longing. "It's the scene I dreamed of, but I never had the chance to experience it, or even see it. Now that there's such a good opportunity, Adam doesn't even want to take me with him." "I want to take Max with me," Adam reminded. "She's my female companion." "I can be your female companion, too," Rachel said dissatisfiedly. "You've always said that Max is more than a friend but less than a lover. We've been good friends for many years, and I believe Max doesn't necessarily want to go to that kind of occasion. Why don't you give me the opportunity?" Adam frowned. Rachel hit the point. With Max's somewhat inferior personality, it was already difficult for her to go there. If Rachel pestered her like this, she would probably go with the flow and resolutely refuse to go. This was not the result he wanted. A Chanel bag. "What?" Everyone was stunned. "I really want to take Max with me." Adam smiled and said, "And as long as you help me, you can choose a Chanel bag and I'll give it to you." Judging from Leonard's relationship, he should actually take Rachel with him. After all, Leonard helped him so much, and Rachel spoke for the first time and her emotions were so strong. But Adam still wanted to take Max with him. Whether it was to compensate Rachel or to prevent her from making trouble, if he could solve the problem with a brand-name bag, then Adam would naturally be willing. At this moment, he felt the same way about those rich people who would give women brand-name bags at every turn, things worth thousands of dollars. Sometimes Adam would be extravagant and spend so much money on a big meal, but he would just eat one less big meal. Chanel bag. The power of brand-name bags on women was immediately apparent, and Rachel was extremely entangled. One was a fantasy scene, extreme enjoyment for a short period of time. The other was long-term possession. This was really a dilemma. "Choose a bag," Ross reminded in a low voice, "otherwise you won't get anything." As a bystander, he saw Adam's determination and knew that Adam would definitely take Max with him. "Deal." Rachel also reacted and happily accepted this unexpected surprise. "Here is my credit card." Adam handed the credit card to Rachel. "Max is now in your hands. As for the bag I promised you, You can also pay for it. No problem. Rachel took Adam's credit card and kissed it. Baby, do you know how much your mother misses you? Ross's mouth twitched. Hey, ahem. Rachel, it's not that bad, is it? It's all your fault. Rachel glared at him. If you hadn't instigated me to cut off all my treasures 3 years ago, I wouldn't have gone shopping properly for 3 years. Ross immediately felt guilty. The reason why he was the most aggressive in making trouble back then was indeed because he had a strong selfish motive. Adam ignored them, thinking about the scene of Max and Carolyn meeting and how he should intervene. Chapter 228. Why are dresses disposable? That night, Duncan's apartment. What? When Max heard Adam talking about the coming-of-age ceremony party, Amy couldn't keep the same classic expression as afterwards, and shook her head repeatedly. I'm not going. Don't worry, it's just a party. Adam comforted. You can't let me go alone, right? It's just a party? Max shouted. This is a party for the eldest daughter of a billionaire's family. I haven't even attended a party for a millionaire's family. I will be embarrassed if I go. It's not that exaggerated. Adam smiled. Whether it's a million or a billion, they are all human beings, and I have handed you over to Rachel. She will help you choose a dress and remind you of some precautions. I will accompany you almost the whole time. You just need to be beautiful and look down on the bears. Just think of it as doing me a favor. Look down on the bears. I'm good at that. Max smiled angrily, and said venomously, but forget about helping you. Last time you said that, I took a day off. It's really hard to help you. You are a typical eat and vomit. Adam said jokingly. It was you who provoked and asked first, but now you are blaming me. Then he explained the story of the shopkeeper Lao Bai Tong and Wulan Wei's Yuan. This metaphor is really manly, just thinking about good things. Max, the old driver, said, vomiting is scientific. Don't think that I don't know what science is just because I haven't been to a real university. You want to use science to coax me? Unless you show it to me in person. Adam's mouth twitched, and he suddenly didn't want to talk. The old driver's fighting power was too strong. Even he couldn't stand it. The next night, Max was finally dragged by Rachel to go shopping. Monica originally wanted to go with her, but was asked out on a date by Peter. Chandler also recognized Peter's identity. It turned out that he was also a programmer before. He designed a software, opened a company, and immediately became a millionaire. He also hugged and took a photo with the commander-in-chief, a real internet upstart. Note that the millionaires in the United States and the millionaires in the East are not the same concept. In the United States, the number system is not as rich as that in the East. There are ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and then millions and billions. Therefore, the millionaires in the United States start with $1 million, and the upper limit is as high as less than $1 billion, including the multimillionaires and billionaires in the East, and the fluctuation is very large. The billionaires in the United States refer to billionaires above the billionaires, and the billionaires of tens and hundreds of billions are also included. Under normal circumstances, no one will deliberately distinguish whether you are a millionaire or a multimillionaire, but if you really want to distinguish, it is also possible. For example, the multimillionaires and billionaires in the East are 10 times and 100 times millionaires in the United States. Adam is a 10-fold millionaire. Peter is a 100-fold millionaire and an upstart internet entrepreneur. His influence is not comparable to Adam. It is also a routine operation to hug and take photos with the president. After all, the real masters of this country are the billionaires like Peter. After learning Peter's true identity, Monica said no. But she was honest and went to confront him with a $20,000 check. Peter tore up the check. Then, Monica accepted Peter's explanation and gave him a date. This is not because Monica is vain, but because she had a good impression of Peter, and now this good impression has been magnified invisibly. Just do good things with good people all your life. Everyone feels normal, and the bad people have done all kinds of bad things, but suddenly do a good thing. Everyone will look at them, and some people will even cry, feel so moved, and whitewash the bad people in various ways. Villains, bad people, and prodigals are more attractive, because they either have power, money, or good looks. Without money, power, and good looks, you can't even be a villain. No joke, this is human nature. Nothing else. Late at night, Rachel and Max just came back. Obviously, someone went crazy, but the results are also amazing. It must be said that Rachel has always wanted to work in the fashion industry, and it is not without reason. She has been spoiled since she was a child, and she does have her own understanding of fashion elements. The dress she helped Max match fully showed Max's advantages. As a result, Max's dress was broken that night just after it was bought, and the quality was not good at all. Then, Adam called the other party and asked them to send a few more sets, which avoided Max from attending the coming-of-age ceremony party without a dress a few days later. The next day, Monica came back. "Someone is in a good mood," Chandler teased. "This smile is also very familiar. Oh, by the way, has Peter not been indescribable for 2 years? Haha." Adam laughed out loud. At the beginning, Monica was deceived by the bartender with this reason for sympathy and hooking up, and fell on the first date. Afterwards, the scene of her blaming all the men was still vivid. Monica naturally understood the joke and threw her handbag directly at Chandler. "Where did you go on a date?" Adam hurriedly tried to smooth things over. "Yeah, let's hear how millionaires with 100 times the wealth date." Chandler took the purse and said jokingly, "We just had a pizza." Monica smiled sweetly. "Just eat pizza," Chandler complained. "Isn't that too stingy?" "Don't worry," Adam understood and said, "this pizza must be different from ordinary pizza." "Yes, that pizza shop is in Italy." Monica couldn't control the curve of her mouth at all. "I paid for the pizza. It's only 60 cents per serving. It's cheap and delicious. I really want to eat it every day, counting the travel expenses." "I guess you don't want to eat it every day," Adam joked. "This is simply the most expensive pizza." "Rich people really know how to have fun," Chandler complained. "Just to eat a 60 cents pizza, he flew from New York to Italy." "This is thought," Adam explained. "There was a great sage in the East, Shurenju, who once said that if she is young, he will take her to see the prosperity of the world. If her heart is already vicissitudes, he will accompany her on the carousel." Monica is neither vain nor experienced. She is a literary youth. At this time, spending a lot of money to accompany her to a foreign country and letting her pay with a small amount of money creates an atmosphere of equal communication, which is the most lethal. Moreover, it takes 8 or 9 hours to fly from New York to Italy. In a foreign country, after eating, can Monica just go home? Doesn't she have to wait for the flight? If she wants to wait for the flight, she has to find a place to rest temporarily. In this atmosphere, the convention of being reserved on the first date and applauding after 3 dates has long been abandoned in the United States. This is the romantic country of Italy. At this point, he couldn't continue, because Chandler and Monica were staring at him. Especially Monica. Her eyes were about to burst into fire. Ahem. Adam laughed dryly. "I just said so. Maybe he doesn't think so." In response to him, a pillow flew quickly. Chapter 229. The Horror of Ruining Childhood. 520. "Why do you look so familiar, scumbag? You ruined my beautiful memories." "I'll fight you." Adam made a casual comment, but Monica was so excited that she exploded on the spot and chased him to death. Even if Adam explained that what he said did not mean that Peter thought so, he could not persuade Monica at all, because many things cannot be thought about in detail. Just like those childhood cartoons, when people interpret them from a new perspective, they will definitely ruin childhood. Then, those familiar and beautiful memories will never go back to the past. There are many such examples. For example, various paragraph descriptions, poems, idioms, and even a simple word. Many times the author does not think so at all, but others think you think so. After all, this is an era of "I don't want you to think, I want me to think." Adam can understand this, because he had this profound experience in his previous life. The most impressive time was when he read a post, asked, "What is the relationship between Yango and Huang Rong?" Out of curiosity, clicked to see. Then my 3 views were shattered, and I began to doubt whether the author really meant that, because it seems that he did not say anything nonsense, and all quoted the original text to make reasonable inferences. For example, when Huang Rong first met Yango, why did her heart flutter when she smelled the scent of Yango? And the scene of the wedding night immediately appeared in her mind. For example, on Peach Blossom Island, Huang Rong did not teach Yango martial arts, but taught him to read. Then Yango became a mediocre playboy with culture, and his lethality to female heroes increased exponentially, so that later there was a saying that once you see Yango, you will ruin your life. When Yango was flirting with girls, he recited very elegant love poems. So the question is, there was no mobile phone or internet in ancient times, and many things could not be touched without anyone teaching. Who taught him these love poems, and why did they teach him? For example, why was Huang Rong so active in breaking up Yango and Zilongnu? On the surface, Huang Rong was afraid that Yango would be despised by the martial arts world. But Huang Rong's father is Huang Yaoshi, the East Evil, who is a heretic. When Huang Rong was young, she was also called a little demon girl. She didn't care about right and wrong at all. It was only because of Gojing that she became a female knight. Her marriage with Gojing was not smooth sailing. According to etiquette, Hua Jing was Gojing's original wife. Would she really uphold etiquette? If not, why did she become the #1 activist to break up the relationship between master and apprentice? For example, Huang Rong and Gojing had not had children since they gave birth to Gofu. After taking Yango to Peach Blossom Island more than 10 years later, she became pregnant with Go Xiang and Go Palu. For example, after Li Maku snatched little Go Xiang away, she suspected that little Go Xiang was the daughter of Yango and Zilongnu, and Huang Rong blushed with shame. For example, Yango was very nice to Go Xiang at the beginning, and all kinds of big scenes made Go Xiang fall in love with him. In the end, he let Go Xiang search the world and live alone for the rest of her life, but he refused to see Go Xiang again. Well, most of this is out of context, and there are other explanations, but it is still horrible to think about it carefully. Adam's casual remark may not be what Peter really thinks, but when Monica heard it, she couldn't help but think about it in that direction. So in the end, in order to make amends, Adam could only stand there and let Monica beat him hard. After all, Monica is not Hu Yifei, and Adam is not the eldest brother, so that little force is no different from massage. But this time Adam pretended to be in unbearable pain and screamed, which made Monica calm down. A few days later, on the night of the coming-of-age ceremony party of the eldest daughter of the Kyanin family, Rachel said irritably, "Max can go, Monica can go too, why can't I go?" Monica and Peter's trip to Italy to make pizza officially established their relationship, and as Peter was a millionaire, he was naturally on the invitation list for the party. Wealth, like power, is in the shape of a pyramid. The higher you go, the fewer people there are. In a megacity like New York, there are many multimillionaires, but millionaires with a net worth of more than 100 million are all well-known bigwigs. Even if it was the coming-of-age ceremony of the eldest daughter of the Channing family, Peter was invited, and Peter was willing to come with his companions, which was definitely Peter's face. "I can't go either." Phoebe raised her hand. Yeah. Rachel nodded perfunctorily. Ross lowered his head to read the newspaper, not daring to look Rachel in the eye. What else could it be? Her boyfriend is not good enough. If he showed up at this time, Rachel would definitely attack him as a target to vent her dissatisfaction. He is a doctor, so he is naturally smart. "How about I let Peter take you there?" Monica couldn't help laughing. "Is it okay?" Rachel's eyes lit up. "Of course not," Monica complained. "This is a party held by the Channing family. You may only encounter such a party once in your life." Rachel was even more angry. At this time, Adam and Max walked in. "Wow, it's so beautiful." Chandler and Joey couldn't help but praise. "Hey, Max, this is not the one I helped you choose. The color is wrong." Rachel frowned. "This color is better." Adam covered up. "How is it possible?" Rachel said. "The color I chose is more suitable for Max." "I know." Max nodded quickly. "Don't listen to him. He also likes the one you chose more." It was because he liked it too much that he tore it up when he went back that night. OMG, everyone was stunned, both for Adam's wildness and Max's honesty. Ahem. Adam laughed awkwardly. "You can't blame me for this. It's because the dress is too poor in quality. This is the truth. This kind of dress is often worn once and then thrown away, so it's naturally not durable. In order to fully show the body, it is basically extremely close-fitting. which is very troublesome to wear. And the occasions when wearing this kind of dress are basically accompanied by exercise afterwards. If you get stuck in taking off your clothes when you are in the mood, you will see if anyone will buy your dress next time. Therefore, excellent designers have already considered various scenarios, ensuring that it is both noble and beautiful to wear and can be easily removed afterwards. And what can be more convenient and more interesting than tearing it? Therefore, it's not that Adam is too powerful. What about my jeans? Max added. Adam's mouth twitched, speechless, and made up his mind that he must teach Max a lesson this time when he goes back, so that she knows what she can say and what she can't say. Fortunately, Peter finally came up and rescued Adam. Under Rachel's envious gaze, Adam took Max's arm, Peter took Monica's arm, and the four of them dressed up and went downstairs. Downstairs, Peter's extended Lincoln was already waiting here. After the four of them got in the car, the driver started steadily and drove towards Channing's house. There should be more in the evening. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230. Max, if she agrees, I'm fine with it. The villa of the Cayenne family. Wow. Upon arriving at the scene, Monica and Max's eyes were a little straight. There was no way. Women naturally had no resistance to glittering things. And the banquet hall was really too shiny. This is how rich people celebrate their birthdays. Monica sighed. Her family was not poor, and she could occasionally get in touch with some upper-class banquets, but compared with today, there was no comparison at all. I didn't even know I had a birthday. Max couldn't help but complain. My mother only narrowed my birthday range to within 2 weeks. These are all false. Adam smiled and said, if you are doing well, every day is a birthday, and if you are not doing well, every day is a death anniversary. Well said. Max exclaimed, is this what the great sage of the East Country said again? Yes, Adam said seriously. Any philosophical words are said by the three brothers. In fact, this is Adam's own experience in his previous life. In movies and TV dramas, birthdays seem to be the most important thing in the world. It feels like you only lost a leg, but she missed her birthday party. In his previous life, Adam never celebrated his birthday. His relatives and friends hardly celebrated their birthdays either, and they didn't seem to be that miserable. Many times, birthday parties are not for oneself, but for others to see. Happiness is all about comparison, showing off happiness. You know, the party of Caroline Channing, the eldest daughter of the Channing family, is a typical example. Unlike ordinary birthday parties, this is a coming-of-age party. That is to say, Caroline Channing is 18 years old today, and her family has announced it to all relatives and friends, and she will officially step into society from now on. It is a bit like the ancient Eastern girls' rite of passage when they are 15 years old. The richer you are, the more particular you are. The grandeur of this coming-of-age party is no less than that of a wedding, and it is similar to a wedding. At this time, Adam and his friends can't see the protagonist of the party, Caroline Channing. At the right time, she will dress up like a princess, and walk down from upstairs with her father on her arm in the spotlight. Excuse me for a moment, I'll go say hello. Peter walked away with Monica on his arm. In this kind of occasion, he has acquaintances to greet. Are we just standing there like this? Max complained. I told you I shouldn't have come. What about now? Adam took 2 glasses of champagne from the tray of the waiter passing by, handed one to Max, and said with a smile, I'm starting to like this place a little bit. Max is a bit of an alcoholic. He usually only drinks beer and cocktails. He rarely gets to touch high-end stuff like champagne, not to mention that the champagne here is all very high-end. In this kind of occasion, Adam hardly knows anyone, but he is not in a hurry. He takes Max to stroll around the entire venue leisurely. This year's returns are still so great. Martin is indeed an investment genius and worthy of our trust. Yes, outside of Wall Street, the number of people who want to join Martin's investment fund can be lined up all the way to Los Angeles. Fortunately, we are the first batch to join, otherwise with our funds, We probably don't qualify to join now. Martin started from scratch and accumulated tens of billions of wealth in just a few decades. He is really the representative of the American dream. Groups of American social elites gathered together, talking about investment returns and praising the owner Martin Channing, which made Adam laugh. Is this Martin so amazing? Max also heard it and whispered, have you invested money in it? No. Adam shook his head and smiled meaningfully. I'm not qualified yet. That's good. Max touched her big bear and let out a long sigh. Such an amazing person sounds like a liar. You are right not to invest money. Haha. Adam looked at Max with admiration, and said nothing more. He clinked the high-heeled glass in his hand with Max's high-heeled glass and took a big sip. In theory, any social elite in the field has better vision than Max, but they are immersed in the illusion created by Martin Channing. They don't think about it from the basic logical level. With such a high volume, is it reasonable to maintain such an exaggerated growth every year? In the future, as the illusion scam created by Martin is revealed, groups of people will go bankrupt or jump off buildings, and the entire financial circle of New York and the United States will be shaken. Who should be blamed? Martin's methods are too high? No, or they are too greedy. The interests have blinded their eyes and made them stupid. Max, who has not read much and is despised by them as a lower-class person, instinctively sensed that there is something wrong here. It must be said that this is a kind of irony. Seeing this, Max tilted her head and drank the champagne in the glass happily. She understood what Adam meant. This was the first time Adam looked at her like this. Even if he didn't say a word, the silent praise in his eyes was better than 1,000 words. I did it. You can do whatever you want. It's the same when we go back tonight. Puff. The tacit atmosphere was immediately broken by the overbearing dirty joke, and Adam almost sprayed out the champagne in his mouth. Are you sure? Adam got excited when he heard this. Of course, Max said boldly. I'm yours tonight. At this time, the music in the venue changed. The lights dimmed, and the spotlight was on the stairs. Everyone cast their eyes over there with understanding. A blonde beauty, accompanied by an elegant man, slowly walked down. She really looks like a princess. Max murmured a little absent-mindedly. Everyone is a princess. She is, and you too. Adam smiled and said, maybe you will become good sisters in the future. Haha. Max was amused and almost laughed out loud, but Adam, who had a hand speed of 180, covered her mouth with his hand, but it still attracted the attention of many people, including the protagonist of the night, Caroline Channing. Caroline's smile froze on her face as she walked down slowly, but the etiquette she had deliberately cultivated since childhood made her resist the urge to glare at Max. Don't worry, dear. Her father Martin felt the strength on his arm increase, and could not help but remind him softly, today is your day. I know. Caroline recovered and continued to walk down slowly and gracefully to the sound of music. Over there. Sorry. Max obviously realized that she had caused trouble and apologized quickly. It's okay. Adam complained. But is it so funny? You said I am also a princess. Maybe I can become a good sister with her? Max covered her mouth and laughed. Isn't this funny? It's simply a big joke. You still have to have dreams. What if they come true? Adam laughed. What if it comes true? Max rolled his eyes. If it really comes true, as long as she agrees, you can do whatever you want. I'm fine with it. Adam's mouth twitched. Don't like it? Max teased. Don't pretend. You men like this the most. It's a pity that it's impossible. Are you sure? Adam couldn't help but said, I've made a note of it. Go ahead, make a note of it. Max said indifferently, if I really became good sisters with a princess like her, it must be God's will to meet her with such a low probability. It's a win-win situation. Adam smiled, and his smile gradually became brighter. Peas. There is only one chapter tonight. My waist can't take it anymore from sitting to and from work. I plan to go out for a walk in the evening. I'll continue tomorrow. Chapter 231. I'm super fierce. Channing's villa. Caroline made a brilliant appearance. All the stars were watching over her. Under Martin's leadership, wherever he went, he attracted a wave of flattery, all kinds of praise. If it could be quantified and cashed in, Caroline would probably be able to instantly transform from a princess to a queen. Congratulations, Miss Channing. Adam smiled. Thank you. Caroline glanced at Max and smiled reservedly. I like your Lord of Mysteries. Do you think I look like Audrey? Adam paused, looked at Carolyn again, and nodded. Very similar. You just lack Susie. He said so, but he was complaining in his heart. Why do the fans he met like to compare themselves to Audrey? They are really confident. But in comparison, Caroline has blonde hair and looks pure and sweet. Her personal trust is as high as $800 million. She is a super money thigh. She really feels a bit like Audrey. I have Susie's. Caroline smiled. She is not suitable for this kind of occasion. She is being led by the servants. It seems that you really like Audrey. Adam sighed. Yes, I seem to see myself in her. Caroline smiled playfully. Are you sure you didn't write it based on me? Ha ha ha. Adam couldn't help laughing. It's not true. You think too much. Who is this? Caroline looked at Max again, with scrutiny in her eyes. There was no way. She was tall and wearing high heels. Looking at Max was completely looking down. My name is Max. Max has been in the underworld for so long that she is very sensitive to this kind of look. She immediately fought back, holding her head high and chest out, silently swearing that I am super fierce. Adam must be very humorous. Caroline glanced at Maxim, and her mood became worse and worse. She couldn't help but said sarcastically, what did he say just now that made you so happy? He wasn't talking about me, was he? He really was talking about you. Max felt Caroline's aggression, and his fighting spirit was also aroused. His waist was no longer sore and he was out of breath. He said frankly, you are a princess, and I am also a princess. Everyone is a princess. Maybe we will become good sisters in the future. Ha ha ha. Before Max finished speaking, Caroline laughed. This is really funny. Adam is worthy of being a writer. It's so funny. I like this. Max's face turned black, and the poisonous tongue and dirty jokes came out immediately. I'm glad you like it. It's funny, right? I think so too. So I told him that if one day I really become good sisters with you, we will accompany him together. How about it, sister? Okay. Caroline agreed verbally, but her eyes were full of arrogance and disdain, clearly saying, what good are you thinking? You and I will become good sisters? She never thought that her family, which was full of prosperity and wealth, would collapse in a few years. At that time, she would also fall from being a high-ranking billionaire to being penniless and helpless. What's more terrible is that because her father cheated countless rich people of their money, some of them went bankrupt and some jumped off buildings, which not only offended these rich people, but also frightened the rich people in New York and the whole United States. Those rich people who didn't invest money but almost invested money were really scared. The worst thing in the world is that the people are still there, but the money is gone. The richer the rich are, the more they can't stand the fear of falling from heaven to hell. Therefore, even if Caroline is a top graduate of Wharton Business School a few years later, she is very talented, and has been taught by her genius father since childhood. She is a financial genius, but no one is willing to use her. No one dares to use her. The Channing family is hooked up with super liars, even the devil Satan. This is the real reason why Caroline can only serve dishes as a waitress. With the relationship with the victims and the countless people who are afraid of her, if nothing unexpected happens, she will never be able to work in the financial industry in her life. And apart from this, what else can she, a billionaire, do? The answer is nothing. She couldn't imagine the difficulty of starting a business from scratch at the bottom, so even though she was positive and worked hard most of the time, she wanted to give up from time to time when she encountered a tough problem that she couldn't solve. If it weren't for her good luck and the appearance of Max, she would have collapsed long ago even if she was optimistic. And what about Max? She has suffered countless hardships since she was a child, and she is least afraid of tough people. The key is to maintain her kindness in her heart, which just makes up for the defect of Caroline, a billionaire who is ambitious but incompetent. Therefore, the two of them are the best combination, two broke girls. But at this moment, they never thought that there would be such a day. Each of them is super confident. Looking at Caroline's attitude, you can tell that her attention is not on the exciting threesome at all, but she is amused by the news that she will become good sisters with Max. Adam was very confused while listening to them. He wanted to remind them not to set a flag, but there was no such joke yet, so Adam could only keep smiling. He was very helpless. Should he obey or, after Caroline left, Bitch. Max cursed in a low voice. This kind of rich lady is really annoying. That's because she has never been beaten by society. Adam smiled and said, if she had been beaten by society, maybe you two could really become good sisters. You really think about it. Max looked at Adam with a squint. If you have the ability, go and beat her up now. I don't mind participating and teaching her a lesson. Adam was speechless. Although he had a lot of ideas, he was still a little embarrassed to respond after being told so bluntly by Max. Alas, as expected, I am still too gentlemanly. Adam could only sigh in his heart. If it were Joey, Barney, Howard, Luciabu, Oleg, they would definitely respond without hesitation, and their dirty words would be more dirty than each other. Compared with them, Adam is definitely a virtuous and upright gentleman. The center of the following banquet was still around Carolyn. Adam and Max were the audience who ate and drank all the time and heard a lot of gossip. Carolyn will graduate next year and has already booked Wharton School of Business in Pennsylvania. With this calculation, there are more than 4 years before the Channing family goes bankrupt. If Adam was not unfamiliar with short-selling stocks and was naturally vigilant, he could have taken Martin Channing as a target and followed him to short sell. Finance is not about rising to make money. It can also make money when it falls. So there is a classic saying that it doesn't matter if it rises or falls, as long as there are fluctuations. The greater the fluctuation, the greater the profit. With the scale of Martin Channing's scam, once you know when he will collapse, shorting in advance will make a lot of money. But Adam will not take such a risk, because even if he knows this, he can't be sure of the exact time point. If there is any fluctuation, you will be eliminated directly before you can make a lot of money. The bloody cruelty of finance can be seen. Those seniors who traveled through time and space can make a lot of money with vague impressions. They are definitely cheating. P.S. Thank you to Book Friends 2019021722482536 and Book Friends 2017121000392906 for the reward. I went out for something in the morning, and I will come back in the afternoon to code, and try to ensure 4 updates. Chapter 232 Sugar Daddy, Duncan apartment, late at night. Holy shit. Max used his hands and feet to push Adam away with all his strength, shouting, I was just joking with you, you really don't treat me as a human being? I'm an honest man. Adam retracted his magical power, lay beside him, and smiled. Whatever you say is natural. No discount, beast. Max's previous touch from Adam's admiring eyes was completely gone, and he cursed angrily. Looking at you like this, it seems that you will join the Mormon Church in the future, otherwise anyone who marries you will suffer. You are too perverted. Mormonism is a sect in the United States, advocating polygamy and all kinds of chaos, very much like a cult. Not interested, Adam said lazily. That is an evil way, not a right way. You are not an evil way, Max said venomously. I think you like to go the evil way the most. Haha. Adam smiled and didn't respond, changing the subject. Max, what do you think about the college study I told you about last time? Not very good, Max said unhappily. She felt a little uncomfortable when she said this. She wanted to be an illustrator for children's books in the future. That was her dream. But for her, the reason why a dream is that it is out of reach. She went to community college to study painting for this purpose, more to feel the dream and get closer to it. But to be honest, she never thought about really getting in touch with her dream, or even aspiring to realize it. Even when she thought about taking a big step closer to her dream, she still had an inexplicable sense of panic. Tell me. Adam looked at her sideways. What are you worried about? I have a lot of things to worry about. Max, as always, first spoke a dirty joke. You brothers are ranked first. Really? Adam laughed. Then why don't you tell me quickly? Otherwise your worries will become a reality. Max rolled his eyes, was silent for a moment, and laughed at himself. Maybe I'm just timid. Whenever everything is going well, it feels particularly unreal. I always feel that when I wake up tomorrow, there will be some unexpected changes that I can't expect. These changes are never good. I understand. Adam nodded. This is also a stress mechanism, a kind of self-protection. If you don't think about good things, when bad things happen, you won't be disappointed, or even desperate. So what kind of change do you think meeting me is? Adam smiled and said, good or bad? Half and half. Max complained, good under the bed, bad on the bed. Adam was speechless. He realized that he was a little too reckless in treating Max, but he couldn't be blamed entirely. Who made her make dirty jokes all the time to provoke him, like tonight? She took the initiative to ask Adam to be casual, and she was fine with it. What could Adam do? Of course, he was really casual. No one will be lucky forever, and no one will be unlucky forever. Adam hugged Max and poured him some chicken soup for the soul. Maybe you were unlucky before, but I have a feeling that from now on, you will be lucky. Because of meeting you? Max smiled. Yes, Adam said seriously. Maybe I am your lucky star. What do you think? Lucky star, Max muttered, put her face against Adam's chest, and smiled non-committally. Maybe. So, Adam got back to the point. Do you have any other concerns? Tell me about it. Tuition fees. Unable to resist Adam's enthusiasm, Max began to reveal some of his inner thoughts. The tuition fees of community colleges are already so high, not to mention regular universities. The key is that even if you can successfully go to college, you may not be able to find a suitable job after graduation. Aren't there a few painters who are down and out? The high or low tuition fees of community colleges are relative. Compared with regular universities, the tuition fees of community colleges are naturally very low. But for someone like Max who works as a waiter while studying, the tuition fees are still too high. If going to community colleges to pay for getting closer to her dream, Max can barely afford it if she is extravagant. But the cost of going to a regular university is something she can't afford. In addition, the problem of employment after going to college is also a big problem. This major with a strong literary and artistic atmosphere is itself a typical example of unemployment after graduation. Most graduates can't find a job in their major, and finally have to change careers, which greatly wastes the professional skills they have learned at a high price. Although Max is only 19 years old, she has long known the difficulties of life. Naturally, she is not naive to think that all the painters who are in trouble are talented but not appreciated. After all, talent is like pregnancy. After a long time, it will always be exposed. And the general downfall is obviously not explained by lack of talent, but the limited capacity of the industry, which is not enough to support too many people to take this path. In this case, she, who is not confident, will not have the illusion that she will definitely become one of the successful few. So how can she not back down? So, you are lucky to meet me. Adam smiled and said, tuition and employment are not a problem, and these two are actually a problem. The reason you are worried is that you don't have the confidence to use the knowledge you have learned to find a suitable job to repay your student loan, right? Isn't this obvious? Max complained. What if I book a job for you in advance? Adam had thought about this question a long time ago, and said confidently, you just need to go to college to study hard and improve your skills. Once you graduate, a job with a related major and good salary will be waiting for you. Are you still worried? What job? Max was tempted. An illustrator for children's books. Adam smiled. Isn't this the job you've always dreamed of? Really? Max exclaimed. Then he thought of something and calmed down again. He shook his head and said, forget it. You must be the one asking others for help. Let's not do it. It's better to rely on yourself than on others. Adam smiled. You know I'm a writer, right? I have an inspiration, and if I want to realize it, I need the help of an illustrator. When the time comes, I will provide the text and you will be responsible for drawing it. Let's work together to create a high-quality children's book. How about it? I'm already like this. I really have no new ideas. You don't need to coax me anymore, Max said in disbelief. If you really have an inspiration, wouldn't you ask someone else to draw it? Those people are better than me, and we can recruit them now. Why wait until I graduate from college? First of all, this is just an inspiration. Good works need time to polish, and 2 years is just right. Secondly, when recruiting people to help, loyalty is also required. I trust you more. Adam said nonsense in a serious tone. Of course, I don't deny that I want to help you. This is not contradictory. We are good friends. It is normal to help each other to the best of our ability. This is no longer the best help between friends. Max pushed Adam's moving hand away, stood up and looked at Adam. Do you want to be my sugar daddy? P.S. I came back late. I rushed to code a chapter, and I have to go out later. That's all for today. Sorry. There will be 5 updates tomorrow. Chapter 233 Max's Choice. Duncan's apartment. Do you want to be my sugar daddy? Max asked the fatal question with a serious expression. Adam was shocked. This question is not easy to answer. The answer is no. Most of the reasons he gave are nonsense. You can see the problem with a little thought. Do you need to work so hard to help a friend? Of course not. In the original time and space, Chandler was promoted to a supervisor and needed an assistant. At that time, Phoebe had no job. His first reaction was not to ask her to be an assistant. Moreover, he hesitated again and again after being reminded by others. There are naturally reasons why a friend should not be mixed with superiors and subordinates, but more importantly, it reveals that the help between friends is limited. It is right to do it when it is convenient, when the friend obviously does not want to remind him again and again, and help to book a good job 2 years in advance to relieve his worries. This level of help is not something that ordinary relatives can do. It is the behavior of a real father. Max is not stupid. How could she not see it? She slapped the hand of God that turned Maxim into Naxon. She asked such a serious question. If you open your eyes and lie again, it will be a bit insulting to people's IQ. But the answer is yes. That won't work either. Sugar daddy means godfather in the East, and it is the kind that has been played badly. In the United States, there is a sugar daddy website, which has a sense of being above board, but it is also a derogatory term. If you want to be someone's sugar daddy, it is 100% humiliating to a decent girl. So here comes the question. The answer is yes or no. It is not okay. This is not a life-threatening question. Ha ha ha. Seeing Adam's expression change and his face full of entanglement, Max, who had a tense face, suddenly laughed out loud. Are you scaring me? Adam understood immediately. In his eyes, Max is a good girl, but also a bad girl. Sometimes when playing the plot, she would call herself a dirty girl or a naughty girl, especially a naughty girl who is not well behaved. This tone is completely matched with sugar daddy. Under normal circumstances, Adam would not be fooled, but just now he reflected on his excessive recklessness towards Max. Although Max made dirty jokes to provoke him, he did cross the line. Coupled with Max's serious look, Adam felt that Max was offended and was serious. That's why he didn't react for a while. Ha ha ha. Max laughed and said, Candy is my favorite. I have always wanted a father since I was a child. Sugar daddy is simply my god. How could I not like him? Slap. Adam slapped her in the face. Of course, he didn't hit her in the face. After all, you don't hit people in the face. Sugar daddy. Max immediately looked at Adam with tears in her eyes. Hiss. Adam took a breath and cursed in his heart. This damn decadent free world. Max is indeed an unprecedented old driver. Even in this situation, she still dares to provoke Adam like this. Needless to say, don't be a coward. An hour later. The night has restored the tranquility she should have. Adam continued to read, occasionally looking at Max who was sleeping soundly, and his heart was full of emotion. Just now, after an hour of friendly consultation, Max agreed to Adam's suggestion and decided to go to university to continue her studies and help Adam after graduation. Adam was not just saying this casually, he really had the inspiration. In his previous life, he had nephews, nieces, and nephews. For a while, the children were particularly fascinated by a pig called Peppa Pig, and Adam also watched some of them and learned about them. What impressed me most was that this pig had an amazing influence. The animation was popular all over the world, and the peripherals were sold like crazy, with an annual licensing fee of more than $1 billion. The only one who was more powerful than this might be Harry Potter, but the cost of Harry Potter's film and television adaptation far exceeded that of Peppa Pig. What does Peppa Pig have? It's just a 50-cent cartoon. Of course, like Harry Potter, the reason why Peppa Pig is so popular is largely due to promotion. But any hit cannot be without its own hard power. The humorous dialogue style and the highly educational ghost story plot have conquered not only children but also parents, which is the basis for her to become popular all over the world. Adam plans to sort out the plot first, and then let Max draw it, and then publish it to occupy the copyright first. As for whether the animation will be licensed to others or invested in production by himself, we will see when the time comes. In the meantime, apart from Max's salary expenses, he has to use his brain to recall and ponder, and there is no cost at all. But once it succeeds in the future, it will definitely be a cash cow. With an annual income of $1 billion, if it is converted into a listed company, the market value will be tens of billions of dollars, and the value of shares will be more than the investment in Apple and Google. This kind of low investment in super high income, by the way, can also help Max change his fate. Why wouldn't he do it? And he didn't choose Max all on a whim. Max is not without any advantages. On the contrary, she has a lot of advantages. The loyalty mentioned before is also half true and half false. Indeed, he can recruit people and use contracts to constrain them, which can basically prevent plagiarism and the problem of pirated products coming out before the original products. But if you can use more loyal people, why not use them? Moreover, Peppa Pig faces young children, so the plot and painting style must be suitable. Adam has only read some of it, and it is not complete, so he can only come up with an outline in the beginning part. The subsequent content actually needs to be improved by people. This person needs to have drawing skills, a humorous style, and a childlike heart that can empathize with others. Max, on the other hand, is unparalleled in the world in terms of her sharp tongue and dirty jokes. This is of course not suitable for the humorous style of children's books, but it cannot be denied that Max has a high sense of humor. The reason why she evolved into a sharp tongue and dirty jokes is that she had to use this method to protect herself due to life's pressure, just like Chandler's self-deprecation and lifting Susie's skirt. If Max is given a chance to choose and change, Adam believes that her sharp tongue and dirty jokes can also become a humorous style that children and parents love to see. This leads to another requirement, a childlike heart that can empathize with others. You ask someone who writes about harems to write pure love. Isn't that difficult for Fat Tiger? Without a childlike heart that can empathize with others, no matter how wonderful your writing is, children will not even read it, because the world in their eyes is completely different. Does Max have a childlike heart? Obviously she does. If it weren't for Adam, she would be taking care of the children of a rich lady, and that posture would make her own mother look useless. And she still likes children's cartoons such as robot dolls. Max is very good at being loyal, humorous, and childlike. The only thing she lacks is painting skills, which can be acquired through hard work. Peppa Pig became popular after 2010, more than 10 years ago, and a large part of the reason for the popularity is related to the rise of short videos. So there is no problem with timing. Max has so many advantages and is a good friend of Adam. What's the harm in wasting a few years waiting for her? Chapter 234-13 No. The next day, morning jogging time. Hey, Monica, you there? Adam was just planning to take Chandler for a run, but he didn't expect Monica to be there. Where can I go? Monica spread her hands. Peter's mansion. Adam laughed. Don't tell me, he sent you back after the party last night? Of course not. Monica shook her head. So he sent you back after we made love? Adam said jokingly. He's really ruthless. Monica was speechless. I asked him to send me back. Why? This time, not only Adam, but also Chandler was surprised. Women and men are different. After the indescribable, women prefer to continue to be tender, while men just want to sleep, and it's best to sleep alone. Otherwise, Ross wouldn't have developed the means of hugging and pulling hands. Monica actually took the initiative to let Peter send her back after the indescribable, which is obviously abnormal. Normally, they should sleep until dawn and make an appointment next time. Just like Howard and Bernadette in The Big Bang Theory, they are in love. Because Howard's mother is there, Bernadette doesn't want to go to Howard's house, but Howard has a curfew every night and must go home. This results in Howard counting the time and getting up and leaving after a few moments of tenderness, which makes Bernadette very angry. Because it makes her feel that she is very cheap and unappreciated, She always wants Howard to stay overnight, or even move out of the house to live with her, but Howard refused for a long time. On the one hand, it is because he has lived with his mother since he was a child, and he is used to it. Both mother and son need each other's help. For example, Howard is so old, and his mother is responsible for his food, clothing, housing and transportation. Even his mother takes him to the dentist. What's more exaggerated is that it was not until Howard went to college that he knew that he could measure his body temperature with his mouth. Howard's mother did not remarry for Howard, and could only fill her empty heart with food. She grew fatter and fatter, and it was difficult for her to move. Howard needed help with many things. On the other hand, it is not impossible that since it is already indescribable, it is boring to stay with Bernadette. Wouldn't it be nice to go back and play games? Didn't Rajesh once say a hot theory with Stuart? His ideal life is, if Stuart is a woman, then they can read comics and play games together, and then go back at night, and he will send Stuart to the sky. Of course, that was when he was extremely lonely, and Stuart, who was also single and lonely, had a sudden brain hole, and even Stuart, who also had no bottom line, couldn't stand it. But this also reflects some of the real thoughts of men. Excluding indescribable factors, men prefer to play with men. This is also an important reason why beautiful game anchors were so popular in Adam's previous life. A beautiful woman who can play games with you and do indescribable things with you is simply a blessing for men, especially if the tender link after the indescribable things is replaced by discussing games, or directly playing double games. Then men will probably not fall asleep so easily. The difference in nature between men and women makes Monica's behavior particularly eye-catching. Nothing, I just don't want to stay overnight. Monica shrugged. Come on. Adam subconsciously used Barney's classic expression of persuading people to tell the truth in How I Met Your Mother. I'm telling the truth. Monica still wanted to quibble. Monica, come on. Adam still had the same expression, full of, I see through you. Just tell the truth. Okay. Monica couldn't stand Adam's tone, so she raised her hand and said, I'm just not used to it. I don't feel like I love him. Is it because? No, it has nothing to do with indescribable. Monica interrupted directly. It's a relationship problem. Peter is very good, but I don't love him. It's that simple. Oh, Adam smiled and said, congratulations, Monica, you have evolved. Now you are the same as me, simply enjoying indescribable and not talking about love. No, Monica shook her head subconsciously, and then there were countless classic denials. No. The tone changed from denial to hesitation, and then fear. It was just like in How I Met Your Mother, when others accidentally mistook Robin and Barney for a couple. Robin used the classic 16 no's to emphasize that she and Barney were absolutely impossible. Adam counted carefully. 13 no's. Sure enough, he had a much more positive image than the future prodigal Barney Stinson. OMG. After Monica said 13 no's, she finally had a new expression. She covered her mouth and exclaimed, I really look a bit like Adam. Just like. Not really? Adam complained. Didn't you also say when you asked me to introduce you to a boyfriend, now you are only considering balancing hormones? I was just saying that, Monica said with a horrified expression. Without the indescribable love, what would it be? Prodigal son. Adam said seriously, of course this is the name for our men. OMG, Monica exclaimed again. Come on, Adam said bluntly, you have just experienced an unforgettable love. You need time to recover, otherwise, you can't have true love with anyone. Now it's good. Peter, a gentlemanly rich man, is just right for healing. At this point, he glanced at Chandler and thought, this is where your true love is. And there is another sentence he didn't say, that is, Peter's identity as a rich man is actually a big obstacle. The class solidification in the United States is open. The proletariat against the proletariat, the middle class against the middle class, and the assets against the assets are almost a convention. In movies and TV dramas, ordinary girls can still live happily for a lifetime after marrying into a wealthy family. That is just the need of the film and TV. In reality, there are indeed such cases, but they are also survivor biases, and there are very few of them. Monica should also have this string in her heart, and with her personality, she is not likely to be greedy for vanity. so she is unlikely to be over-involved, and love is something that can only be produced and gradually become stronger if you devote yourself wholeheartedly. Richard's true love was strong and lasting, and then she was reluctant to invest because of her concerns. Monica's unnatural ambiguity is completely normal. Adam has no intention of helping Peter speak to comfort Monica. In his heart, Chandler and Monica are the best couple, and this is not what Adam said after seeing the ending. Before that, there were many signs. For example, when Monica was still a fat girl, she saw Chandler for the first time and obviously fell in love with him. For example, before the six people formed a trip, the two lived opposite each other, had the most contact and the best relationship. When they were together, Monica often sat next to Chandler, very intimate. A very classic scene. Monica wanted to eat Chandler's cookies. Chandler licked all the cookies with his saliva, and Monica picked up the coffee that Chandler had drunk and licked the rim of the coffee cup, although it was later discovered that it was not Chandler's cup. This very casual disguised saliva exchange still shows that their intimacy is unique. P.S. Thanks to book friends 160601201604275 and Kangha Yishinkwa for the rewards, and more. Chapter 235 Breakup Season. After hearing what Adam said, Monica fell into self-doubt. The next week, Monica broke up with Peter. Then it seemed like a switch was turned on. Weekend night, Mac's restaurant. Because Monica and Max both work here, everyone likes to come here for gatherings. Recently, you can't just drink coffee and chat every day. Occasionally, a little wine will make the mood more appropriate. Enough. Rachel and Ross started arguing. I think we should calm down, Rachel suddenly said. Okay, waiter, give each of us a cold drink. Ross was still trying to be clever. No. Rachel looked at Ross and suddenly felt nothing. She said calmly, I mean the two of us, we need to separate temporarily and calm down each other. What? Ross was stunned for a moment. This temporary separation was just a polite remark. The real meaning was breaking up. When he reacted, he was immediately furious and roared, break up. As he said that, he pushed the chair away and left directly regardless of the persuasion of the stunned people. What's wrong? Seeing the noise, Max, who was still working as a waitress, hurried over to ask. That's right, although she liked Adam as a sugar daddy, she was not like other girls who found sugar daddies, who did nothing but dress up beautifully to serve the sugar daddy and do everything. She still worked as a waitress, earning a low salary and trying to be self-reliant as much as possible. After going to college for further studies, she also insisted on taking out a loan, and continued to earn her living expenses by working part-time as a waitress, instead of taking Adam's money. Adam, the sugar daddy, gave her more courage to work hard for the better. It seems that she failed a little, but fortunately, Adam can enjoy the treatment that a sugar daddy should enjoy. Otherwise he would have protested long ago. I really can't stand it, Rachel explained. He is too narrow-minded and always interferes with my normal work. Everyone understood. It is said that Rachel has been working for almost 3 years since she ran away from her marriage. Her main job is a waitress and she writes part-time. But she is not good at anything. Even with Adam's guidance, she didn't write anything that could be published, and she gradually lost her enthusiasm. Her main job as a waitress was even worse. After 3 years, she still often makes mistakes in what customers order, and makes customers wait again and again until they can't wait any longer and leave. Adam is actually very familiar with this state. That is a state of not caring and not paying attention. Therefore, even after another 3 years, Rachel's service level will not improve much. Usually, she has the help of her manager Gunter, who has a crush on her, and she muddles through. But when the boss finds out, Manager Gunter can only help Rachel get a chance to be retrained. That is to retrain the waiter's business level systematically. But Rachel was furious when she heard it. Being a waiter is already very aggrieved, and she has been working for 3 years and is an old waiter. Now she has to be retrained as a newcomer. How can she get down from this phase? But when she was asked about the basic common sense of the waiter, she was confused and embarrassed. So she chose to resign and pursue her fashion path. People with high appearance are different. When she was chatting with Monica, a man who worked in a department store took the initiative to interrupt and said that there was a job that was very suitable for her. Rachel naturally accepted it with great joy, and this job was indeed good. But after listening to this, Ross immediately understood that the man must have taken a fancy to Rachel and wanted to seduce her. Otherwise, why would a stranger take the initiative to introduce you to a job? In order to ensure that Rachel would not be abducted by the man, Ross began to launch a tagging campaign, sending various flowers and love gift baskets to Rachel's office, and even a love choir sang for Rachel during working hours. The man did retreat temporarily, but he also seriously interfered with Rachel's work and made her very embarrassed. What's more, when Rachel had just joined the company and needed to work overtime, Ross insisted on spending their love anniversary in the office with her, so that Rachel almost made a big mistake. This led to Rachel's big outburst tonight. Max was also a little confused when he heard it. "This is too much, haha." Adam smiled and said nothing. He didn't really care about their breakups and reunions. Ross did have a lot of responsibility to get to this point, but Rachel had no responsibility at all. Of course it was impossible. Facts have proved that Ross's judgment of the purpose of the enthusiastic male colleague was completely correct. Everyone knows it. Rachel naturally knows it well, but she still pretended to know nothing, and frequently accepted the invitation of this male colleague to have dinner and go to lectures together. The thoughts behind this are worth pondering. Maybe she didn't mean to cheat, but just wanted to rely on the enthusiasm of this male colleague to better integrate into the work. But this kind of non-rejection allowed them to have more interactions, which directly stimulated Ross. He foolishly thought that Rachel didn't know the male colleague's sinister intentions and was anxious there. He urgently needed to brand Rachel as his girlfriend, so he had so many exaggerated and embarrassing actions. The subsequent overtime incident was also the result of Ross feeling that Rachel was drifting away and trying hard to catch Rachel. It was calculated by mathematics before that Ross had an abnormal mentality that if he didn't do it, it would be too late for Rachel, so he became Ross the Kidney Man. When he couldn't get Rachel for a long time, Ross the Kidney Man would be crazy. The two were the same. In his opinion, it was really hard to say whether there was love between Rachel and Ross. Ross's love for Rachel was more like the feeling of admiring a goddess in his youth. Rachel's feelings for Ross were the feelings she felt when she was confused and was single. After the indescribable period, there is a mixture of love and friendship, which is actually more like friendship. More than true friends but less than lovers. Of course, lovers here refer to those who truly have love, not just a name. So Adam didn't bother to pay attention to them and let it develop. "Susie and I broke up too," Chandler suddenly said. "What?" Everyone was shocked, including Adam. Adam immediately looked at Chandler with concern. "What happened? Did you want to break up, or did she want to break up?" Don't blame him for treating them differently. With so many friends, it is naturally impossible to treat them equally. Now, among the three major friend circles, only the 6 members of Friends have reunited, which is better. And once the 5-member group of How I Met Your Mother and the 7-member group of The Big Bang Theory are successfully formed, there will be a group of doctor colleagues and a group of close female friends. Just do the math. It's definitely close to 30. With so many people, it is natural to divide them into close and distant ones. Otherwise, even if Adam's endurance is as high as 500, his sleep time is greatly compressed, and he does not have enough time and energy to manage so many relationships. Therefore, Adam already knew it in his mind. Didn't he see Joey and Phoebe often disappear? Among the 6 people, Chandler is the first, and Monica is counted together with Chandler, so they are the ones Adam cares about the most. P.S. I am in a very bad state, and my typing speed is very slow. I have to go to work tomorrow, and I have to stay up late tonight to catch up with tomorrow's noon, so there is only this one chapter today. I am very sorry. Chapter 236 Heading to Boston. Mac's Restaurant. Nothing. Chandler shrugged and said, "You know Susie has been with the group for a long time. We are rarely together and have not seen each other for a long time. Naturally, our feelings have faded. Breaking up is normal." Seeing Adam still looking at him, Chandler added, "No one took the initiative. We both meant it. It's a peaceful breakup. I have the most experience with this kind of calm breakup. It's really nothing." Adam patted Chandler's shoulder. Everyone was speechless, because it was indeed a big truth. But why did it sound so awkward? Seeing Max looking at him strangely, Adam leaned close to her ear and added, "It's impossible for a sugar daddy and a naughty girl to become yes. If we want to break up, it's to sue you for domestic violence." Max said with a venomous tongue, "You can't explain it with your mouth. I'm covered with evidence all over my body." Adam's mouth twitched suddenly, and his expression was very uncomfortable. "Just kidding. It's not that serious." Max noticed Adam's discomfort and said in surprise, "You don't understand. You must not talk about this kind of thing," Adam said solemnly. The news about Dongjin the previous life was so explosive that it left a deep impression on Adam, a bystander. "I heard that this was a traditional American craft, the American honey trap." Even though he knew that Max was not that kind of person, it still sounded creepy. "I know." Although Max didn't understand what he meant, he nodded and agreed. "I want to go back." Rachel saw that the atmosphere was distorted and everyone's attention was no longer on comforting her. She stood up with some dissatisfaction. "How about I take a leave to go back and accompany you?" Monica asked with concern. "No, I want to be alone." Rachel waved her hand. "Okay," Adam said. "Be alone and think about it. Maybe you will find that there is no point in arguing. Of course, the premise is that you are sure you want to be alone? Don't want anyone to accompany you?" "No." Rachel shook her head. Everyone stopped persuading her. After Rachel left, "What's that look in your eyes?" Max noticed that Adam's eyes were not right when he looked at Rachel at the last time, and asked, "Nothing." Adam smiled and said, "I just hope Rachel is just thinking about it alone. If that male colleague calls her again and insists on accompanying her to help her solve the problem, and she agrees, then I guess there's no hope for her and Ross." "No way!" Monica exclaimed. "Women's mouths are deceitful." Max complained. What Adam said is entirely possible. "No, I need to ask for leave to go back." Monica couldn't help it. Ross is her brother and Rachel is her best friend. They are the couple she likes the most. So naturally she doesn't want to ruin it completely because of a momentary impulse. Think about it from another perspective. If she was in Rachel's position, she had just chosen to temporarily break up because she couldn't stand her boyfriend interfering in her work. At this time, the handsome male colleague who has always supported and helped her insisted on coming to chat with her. She probably couldn't refuse this kindness, and she would be a little happy in her heart. If they drank a little more wine, once the atmosphere was right and their eyes met, they would immediately collide with each other. Then they would definitely be cuckolded. After Monica left, Max had to take care of other guests, leaving only Adam and Chandler. "Is it really okay?" Adam said with a smile. "I'm really okay." Chandler shrugged and said, "To be honest, Susie is very nice, but there is more warmth between us. We don't feel like we can't stand being away from each other." "I understand," Adam said with a smile. "This is the feeling of being more than friends but less than lovers. Now you should understand why I said I don't want to fall in love. I really can't find the feeling that makes me want her. We are different," Chandler said with full of disgust. "I wanted to fall in love but didn't find the feeling, and you didn't want to fall in love from the beginning. One is accidental and the other is inevitable. How can they be the same?" "It seems that you are really okay," Adam said with a dark face. His thinking is so clear that he can't be fooled. "Isn't it okay?" Looking at the happy Chandler, Adam still had something to say in his heart. "If I hadn't had this attitude from the beginning, maybe you would call me stepfather now." The next few weeks, near the end of the semester, Adam became busier and busier, and he knew about Ross and Rachel's mess, so he simply didn't attend any parties, and only listened to Chandler and Monica complaining during his morning run every day. Monica was still late, although there was only a few words of delay, and they went back one after the other, because of the traffic congestion. When Monica arrived, the handsome male colleague had already arrived. Just as Monica was complaining about Rachel and the handsome male colleague's speed of light, and was glad that she came back and successfully stopped the spread of the situation, the phone rang. The handsome male colleague walked over calmly and picked up the phone and answered it. It is conceivable what Ross's reaction was when he heard this voice. He hung up the phone directly and went to swing with the girl in the bar. Monica reacted and snatched the phone. She wanted to explain to Ross, but where could she find anyone? Looking at the handsome male colleague with an innocent face, what else could Rachel say? He came to comfort you at the speed of light. He accidentally answered the phone, and it was not intentional. The next morning, Rachel went to Ross's apartment to get back together, and almost blocked Ross and the girl he met in the bar in the apartment. Fortunately, the bar girl was also a person of integrity and slipped away quietly. If Ross had kept his mouth shut, the matter would have passed. But he insisted on telling Joey and the others, and Joey and the others even insisted on telling Rachel about it. Between boyfriends and girlfriends, the most important thing is to be honest about everything. TSK. I have to say that he was too naive and pretentious. The result of the showdown was that the two of them broke up completely. How could they still be friends after such an ugly breakup? The result of the two not being able to appear at the same time was that the group of 6 was split. If you play with Rachel, you can't bring Ross. If you play with Ross, you can't bring Rachel. Both of them wanted to pull their friends to their side, and based on the principle of whoever invites first gets to go, they arranged all the activities for next year. Every time Monica and the others went to a place, the other one felt uncomfortable. They were caught in the middle, torn between the two, and felt very uncomfortable, but they had to greet them with a smile. Adam was gradually drawn into it. They are all good friends. When Monica and the others went to accompany one person, the other one ran to Adam for comfort. They were not considerate at all. Not only did they not check the time, but they even stayed overnight, which seriously affected Adam and Max's study and life. What? You are going to Boston? Ross was still chattering for the nth time, saying that he had broken up with Rachel at that time, so strictly speaking, he did not do anything wrong to Rachel, blah blah. And then he heard Adam say something, and he couldn't help but be surprised. Yes, Adam said reluctantly, Boston is a cultural center. The publishing house has always wanted me to go there for a live signing event. Isn't the 4th part of Lord of Mysteries about to be released? The publishing house asked me to go there for promotion this time. I am just a writer. How can I resist the capitalist master? There is nothing I can do. P.S. There is more in the evening. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237. If you say that again, I will spit in your face. Duncan's apartment. Are you really going? Ross frowned. I'm really going. Adam sighed. That's fine. Ross suddenly smiled. I'll go with you. Just to relax. Adam suddenly felt bad. He chose to go to Boston, first, to see Juno and Karen, and to visit Boston. After all, there are 2 world-famous top universities, Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and there are many other good universities around. It is a cultural center of the United States, a real university town. It is still worth seeing. Secondly, it is true that the 4th part of Lord of Mysteries is about to be released, and Random House hopes that he will cooperate with the promotion. Of course, this is just a hope, not a compulsion. At Adam's level, Random House will definitely support him, so how can they dare to force anything? As a cultural center, Boston's purchasing power for various books is one of the best in all states and cities in the United States. It is still necessary to hold a book signing event here for promotion, but these 2 aspects are not the main reasons. The most important reason is that he wants to take Max out to relax and avoid Ross and Rachel. I can't afford to offend them, but I can't afford to hide from them. But I never expected that Ross would not have the vision to see this extent and wanted to go with him. No, Adam refused subconsciously. Why? Ross immediately looked at Adam with a wronged look. Adam's mouth twitched. For Chandler, he had to keep this friend, so he couldn't tell the truth. I'm going to work, and I don't have time to relax with you. In desperation, Adam had to make up nonsense. Jushiran said, a lie needs countless lies to cover it up. Today I saw it. It doesn't matter. Ross smiled and said, I won't disturb you. I can play by myself during the day, and we can go out together at night. I haven't been to Boston yet. He was still excited. Adam almost couldn't hold back a silent word, trying to keep smiling. Do you want to ask for leave? We're going there on Tuesday. Ross was puzzled. Why is the book signing on a weekday? No way. Adam could only continue to make up. If we choose a rest day, there will be too many people participating. Even if I work myself to death, I probably won't be able to sign all the books. Having too many fans is also a kind of distress. This time it was Ross's turn to twitch the corners of his mouth. Is this a complaint, or a show-off? Besides, I probably won't be able to accompany you at night. Adam was afraid that this would not stop Ross, and quickly added, I used to do publicity, and there were activities in the evening. Can't you take me with you? Ross said unwillingly. Are you a woman? Adam couldn't help it anymore, and complained, if I take you there will definitely be news about my coming out in the newspaper the next day. Of course, if you are willing to wear women's clothes, we can talk about it later. Say it later? If you are willing to do all this, I will spit in your face if you say it again. For a lousy man like you, how can you look good in women's clothes? Is that so? Ross was helpless and looked reluctant. Then I won't go. You come back early. Come back? According to your attitude, I might not come back, and just transfer to Harvard Medical School. Adam couldn't help rolling his eyes. After he half-pushed Ross out, Max smiled and said, Are you really going to Boston? Not me, but us. Adam smiled and said, I'll take you to see my two good friends, have a trip, and get some quiet time. You mean Juno and Karen? Max asked curiously. Yes. Adam nodded. Originally planned to go on the weekend. It seems that I have to go a few days in advance. Can you take a leave? Are you kidding? Max said confidently. Being a waiter also has its advantages. That is, you can take leave at will, especially for someone as unique as me. There is never a shortage of places to work. You can leave when you want, and come back when you want. No problem at all. That's true. Adam smiled. It was Max's confidence that reminded him of Penny in The Big Bang Theory. Once, Bernadette suggested that they skip work and go to Disneyland to play princesses. Although Amy was very normal when she was with Sheldon, and she guided Sheldon in various ways, it was the mixture with Sheldon that made the world forget that she was actually a weirdo. How did she ask for leave? First, around 7 o'clock in the evening, she called her boss to talk about some problems in the laboratory, and then inadvertently mentioned that she was going out to eat seafood. At 9:30 in the evening, she called her boss and inadvertently mentioned that a scallop she ate tasted strange. At 11:30 in the evening, she called and said that she was vomiting all over the place. At 12:45 in the morning, she called and said that she didn't say anything but just held the phone and kept trashing. Finally, her boss finally understood and took the initiative to let her take a good rest for a day. This way of asking for leave is too exaggerated, but it still has that flavor. Just like when Adam asked for leave from his boss in his previous life, he would cough a few more times to show that he was really sick. Whether the boss believed it or not is another matter. But with this step, if you don't agree, you're not a Chinese. Oh, if you don't agree, you're not a good boss. With this moral psychological constraint, the success rate will always be higher. And how did Penny ask for leave? Just like Max, she just unilaterally notified him goodbye and left directly. Even when Penny was ready to concentrate on her acting career and resign from the cheesecake shop, she arrogantly declared to her boss and colleagues that she would never return to this damn place again, and asked them to open their eyes and wait to watch her reach the peak of her life on TV. And when her career was frustrated, Penny also had the confidence to go back. Being beautiful or fierce is so advantageous. If you were an ordinary person, would you try it? Dare to be so arrogant with the boss. You will be fired and replaced in minutes. It's hard to find a three-legged frog, but there are many two-legged waiters. Adam originally planned to take leave and go there in advance with Max, but the medical school courses really couldn't be left, so he didn't take leave and planned to go there on the weekend. But in order to prevent Ross from pestering him again, Adam had to pretend that he went there on Tuesday. Fortunately, Adam was professional and rich, so he played the whole game. He simply didn't go back to the apartment and took Max to the Four Seasons Hotel to book a room. Sometimes changing the environment can bring other surprises. No wonder many great people like to go to hotels. This made Adam's resentment towards Ross and Rachel dissipate for the most part. He stayed in the hotel for a few days happily. As for the autograph session in Boston, Ross didn't know when it would be held. And when Max was resting, he began to call Monica and others, reminding and encouraging them to end it all. Just break up, don't make it like an enemy and let their friends suffer. And give them advice, seize an opportunity, explode once, and scold Rachel and Ross severely, don't go on and on. Rachel and Ross are a pair that deserve to be dealt with. As for why he didn't do it himself, that's because Leonard was there, and he would definitely lean towards Rachel. Ross is not a good-tempered person. Adam is so obviously biased. He will definitely be furious, and he might even explode with a northeastern accent. What's your relationship? Why do I think this is so abnormal? If Monica and the others come forward, there will be no such problem. They have no bias and are truly fair. This is how they can completely calm this couple down from the momentum and emotions, and let Adam have the opportunity to deal with this mess before he returns from Boston. Chapter 238 The True Nature of a Scumbag. Boston, near Harvard University. In an apartment, TSK, Adam and Max followed Juno into the house, and their eyes lit up immediately, and they were amazed. This apartment is about the same size as Adam's apartment, both with 2 bedrooms and a living room, but it gives people a completely different feeling. Adam's is a bachelor's apartment, although it is not as deliberate as Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother, where even Lube series discs are openly placed on a bookshelf, showing the demeanor of a single person. But others can tell at a glance that it is a bachelor's apartment. Juno and Karen's, on the other hand, feel like a home. You live your life in one word: exquisite. You can do it too. Juno smiled. The premise is that you want to. Haha. Adam smiled without saying anything. Although life is good, it is only after seeing the prosperity of the world. Now, he hasn't seen enough. He and Max took a plane to Boston, and naturally informed Juno in advance, so he was picked up by Juno as soon as he got off the plane. Hi, Karen. Yeah. Seeing Karen coming over with tea, Adam hurriedly greeted her. Thank you. Max hurriedly thanked her. You're welcome. Karen didn't smile at Adam, but smiled at Max. In the evening, Adam and Max didn't go to the hotel, but stayed in the guest room. When Karen helped Max to pack up, Juno winked at Adam, and the two went out for a walk downstairs. A new person has changed, Juno teased. You are as broad-minded as ever, and you are getting more and more broad-minded. I can't help it. Adam smiled and said, I met her by chance. Actually, I'm not picky. Yes, as long as she is beautiful, you like her. Juno complained and sighed. This Max is pretty good. How come you always meet good girls? Are you bragging? Adam countered. Of course not. Juno smiled and said, I'm not a good girl. For me, I am. Adam looked at Juno and said seriously, haha. Juno and Adam looked at each other and smiled at each other. Friendship is a mysterious thing. There are levels of nodding acquaintances, friends, good friends, and best friends. The longer the relationship, the better the relationship, but the level is only good friends at most. If you want to become best friends, the most important thing is to see if you like each other. According to the American TV series, there is only one best friend or best friend. The woman is the chief bridesmaid, and the man is the chief groomsman. For example, Sheldon and Leonard, Howard and Rajesh, Penny and Amy, Matthew and Ted. The prodigal son Barney likes to fight for the title of best friend the most, and often gets jealous when Ted says that Matthew is his best friend. Because many times, best friends have gone beyond the scope of friendship. Like love, they can evolve into family affection, that is, another family. Did the title of Leonard's father come out of thin air? When Penny married him and hugged at the end of the ceremony, it was not a normal hug between newlyweds, but also a weird husband and a weird son Sheldon. A complete family of 3. Rajesh couldn't stand being single and wanted to get married, so he had to leave. Howard rushed to the airport to stop Rajesh. Rajesh finally chose Howard and gave up his marriage partner. The two hugged each other warmly and were seen as true love. They applauded and congratulated. Amy was worried that Rajesh and Howard would sleep together before she and Sheldon. After Bernadette and Howard got married, whenever Howard carefully apologized, she would occasionally say, "Are you cheating with Rajesh behind my back?" Although they were all jokes, their relationship definitely went beyond the scope of good friends. They were good friends for life. Nothing could stop them from being together, not even women. If Adam's system wasn't so rubbish and there was a friendship reminder, Adam believed that there would be a lot of people in the good friend column, but the best friend column is either empty or Juno must be in it. This is due to the good impression when watching Hard Candy in the previous life, and the tacit understanding formed by long-term interactions in this life. Honestly, Juno smiled and said, Max is good, but I like Heather more. It's a pity that she chose to stay in Texas. Alas, Adam sighed. He felt the same as Juno. Max was indeed good, but he still liked Heather more. Of course, their starting points were different. Juno liked Heather's personality and temperament, while Adam simply liked Heather's appearance and figure. Among the women Adam had close contact with, Heather had the highest comprehensive score in appearance and figure. You can go see her when you have time, Juno suddenly said. What? Adam was stunned. Karen and I have been to her manor farm. Juno smiled. Did you go? Adam frowned and looked at Juno in confusion. Yes, Juno said meaningfully. It's not convenient for her to leave, but you can take time to visit her. It's not easy for her either, and I know she only has you in her heart. Adam was silent for a while before sighing. Is she okay? She said it's not suitable for me to go there, and I can't leave. It's not suitable for permanent residents, Juno explained. It's okay to visit occasionally. I believe she can arrange it, and Karen and I can go with you, just like when we went hunting in the cabin in the woods before. There are 4 of us together, and there's nothing to worry about. Are you sure? Adam looked at Juno deeply. I'm sure. Juno and Adam looked at each other. Okay. Adam nodded. If Heather is willing. Of course she is willing, Juno said affirmatively. Do you think I'm a scumbag? Adam thought of Max and hesitated again. Hey, why do you ask such a question? Juno looked at Adam strangely, as if she didn't recognize him. Haven't you always been like this? You were 2-timing in high school? You don't think I don't know, do you? No way. No way. Adam's mouth twitched, speechless. I know you're a serious person. Juno put his arm around Adam's shoulder and smiled. It's not like you are asked to go to Heather's place often. Just go with us to see her every now and then. As long as you insist and don't do anything to tarnish your status as a serious person, isn't that enough? Seeing that Adam didn't want to talk, she smiled again. Besides, I don't think you and Max will last long. We can take advantage of your empty bed period. In this way, you are not a typical scumbag, but an atypical scumbag. Why can't Max and I last long? Adam said indignantly. Come on. Juno also used Barney's classic tone and expression to persuade people to tell the truth. But she didn't learn from Barney, but from Adam. Adam opened his mouth, but no words of defense came out. Chapter 239. 2 female fans. The two walked side by side for a while. Adam hesitated for a while, and finally asked, What's going on with Heather? Haha. Juno smiled playfully. I thought you wouldn't ask. Adam's mouth twitched, knowing that she was teasing him. He knew that she knew that he knew some of her unspeakable things, but because of tacit understanding, both sides never talked about these things. This is actually the best for both of them. I don't know whether I want to know or not, Adam complained, and then said seriously, Juno, tell me, should I know? In this case, it's better not to know. Juno thought for a while and said, the more you know, the more troubles you have. It's good for you to be like this before. Okay, I believe you. Adam breathed a sigh of relief, although his current strength has made him no longer afraid of many things. As a future great doctor of Yangchun Baiixu, he has no need to know too much about the dark side. Life is like this. It is what you choose. Zhu Shiren said, you stare into the abyss, and the abyss is also staring at you. Why are Monica and Chandler happy all their lives? It's because they never pay attention to the dark side, but actively embrace the bright and brilliant side. For example, Joey was making trouble and insisted on building a cabinet in the apartment. As a result, he used an electric drill to drill through Chandler's wall. At that time, Chandler was leaning against the wall, and the electric drill passed through his head. What did he say afterwards? He just complained a few words and it was over. You know, if the electric drill was slightly off, the head would be drilled through. Joey certainly didn't do it on purpose, but if Adam was Chandler, he would never let Joey go so easily. The fear of surviving a near-death experience would definitely make Adam feel extremely disgusted with Joey, and he probably couldn't even be friends with him. As such things accumulate, the dark side will definitely overwhelm the light side. Psychologically, many things that were originally nothing can't stand such a scrutiny. Over time, people's personalities will be distorted. This is a vicious cycle. Chandler and his friends, on the other hand, think positively about everything. They know Joey didn't do it on purpose, so they just complain a few words and forget about it, and don't even stare into the abyss. Between the positive and negative, Chandler and his friends are getting farther and farther away from the abyss, and they are less and less likely to encounter these dark sides. This is a virtuous cycle. Adam can't be as free of distractions as Chandler and his friends, and he has a special physique, which often attracts some strange people around him. If he doesn't pay attention, it's easy to slide into the abyss of a vicious cycle. Therefore, Juno said he didn't need to know. Even though he was a little curious, he decided to ignore it as before and pretend that nothing happened. Anyway, Juno is here. She won't hurt him. This kind of trust certified by the system, intuition, and experience is still very secure. How are you going to plan for the next 2 days? Juno changed the subject at the right time. Tomorrow morning we will have a book signing, afternoon break, and evening writers' party. Adam thought for a moment and said, tomorrow afternoon you will take us around Harvard University, and the day after tomorrow we will visit MIT and some other places. That's about it. Writers' party? Juno joked. Aren't you afraid of meeting amazing Amy? Is she still in Boston? Adam was surprised. She's still in Boston? Juno smiled. She's still a big name in the literary world here. She's still in Boston, right? Adam smiled. It's no big deal even if she meets her. He is no longer the same Ben who turned himself into a drama queen out of fear 8 years ago. You still have to be careful, Juno reminded. She's really not a good person. She sued one of her ex-boyfriends before, saying that he forced himself to report her. I checked and asked her ex-boyfriend in person. It's not the case at all. She first got back together with him secretly, and then framed him. He should be telling the truth. Because of Adam, as steady as she is, she pays special attention to amazing Amy. I know. Adam twitched his lips. This plot was so damn weird that he was particularly impressed. How could he not remember it? It was precisely because of this that he kept his distance from wonderful Amy. He would rather spend a lot of effort to make her lose interest in him and take the initiative to break up. It would be great if she met Batman. Adam couldn't help but complain. What do you mean? Juno didn't understand the joke. She has psychological problems and is very vengeful. Adam naturally couldn't say that her future husband had played Batman, so she could only make up nonsense. Her personality tends to be dark. I'm curious, if she marries the Dark Knight Batman, what will happen? Who is darker? Who is more skilled? The premise is that she can marry Batman. Juno immediately followed Adam's imagination and said, with Batman's cautious personality, even if she marries him, he will be on guard against her, or even 100 times. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. But, Juno changed the subject and said with a smile, there is another possibility. Batman lost his parents when he was young, and he values love very much in his heart. If wonderful Amy can really marry him, it means that she has his approval. She may really make Batman suffer a great loss. While the two were walking and talking nonsense behind people's backs, someone was also talking about him. A book club at Harvard University. Adam Duncan's book signing will start tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. Yes, I especially like his Lord of Mysteries. I heard that he is also very handsome. There will be a lot of people tomorrow. Should we go there early to line up? Okay. A group of book club friends were discussing enthusiastically, especially the female book friends, who had seen Adam's photo. Their eyes were shining. In the corner, a long-haired girl with glasses sat there without any sense of existence until everyone dispersed. Looking at the empty venue, she raised her hand and said to herself, I'm going to while speaking. She also forced a smile, as if interacting with everyone. Harvard University, another book club. A red-haired girl walked in with a copy of Lord of Mysteries in her hand. Judging from the age of the book, it is obvious that the book has been read many times. Cthulhu's style is indeed mysterious and weird, and compared to other Cthulhu myths, Lord of Mysteries is more vivid and interesting. Adam Duncan is indeed a genius. There will be a book signing event for him tomorrow. Let's go together. Listening to the chat of the book friends in the book club, the red-haired girl was shocked. After asking and getting confirmation, she showed a moving smile on her face. P.S. Thanks to book friends 20190425170823446, book friend 16060120160425, and Kangha Yishinkwa for the rewards. Chapter 240 The friendship can be overturned at any time. The next day, in the morning, the book signing event for the fourth book of Lord of Mysteries, Undead, in Boston, was officially held under the organization of Random House. After the popularity of the first 3 books, Lord of Mysteries has accumulated a large number of loyal fans all over the United States, and in a cultural center like Boston, there are particularly many fans. When Adam arrived, he saw a long line of people waiting there, each holding a new book in their hands. Seeing his arrival, the line was in a commotion, especially those girls who lined up in advance in order not to miss it. Their eyes were shining, and their minds were full of the feeling of this vote is worth it. It's about to start. You came so early. What do you mean early? You came much earlier than us. Look at the girls in front of you, they are all crazy. I heard that someone lined up here last night. While the people in the middle of the line were talking, a red-haired girl in the front of the middle stared at the long-haired girl with glasses standing in front of her. The long-haired girl with glasses was shaking her body in a weird way. Occasionally, she saw the angry eyes of the red-haired girl from the corner of her eyes, and she shook back with an expressionless face, not looking at the red-haired girl at all. Time came to last night. The red-haired girl heard the news that Adam would hold a book signing in Boston tomorrow morning at the book club, and she was very excited. She is a hardcore fan of horror elements. Stephen King's horror series, Cthulhu mythology, etc. are all her favorites. 2 years ago, she got into the pit of Lord of Mysteries again, and was immediately deeply moved by the stories and characters in it, and became a die-hard fan of Lord of Mysteries. Originally, she should have known the news of Adam's book signing as soon as possible. But she has been a little busy recently, and Adam was forced to hold the book signing by Ross, and there was no pre-promotion for a long time in advance, so she really didn't know. It is conceivable that when she heard the news, she was shocked. She was angry that as a die-hard fan, she didn't know that her idol would hold a book signing in her city, and she was surprised that she got this book signing. If you can go to Harvard, your IQ will not be low. Although she had not been to other book signing events, she could imagine that the closer she was to the front of the line at a book signing event, the better, and she might even be able to chat with her idol. Later on, the idol was tired of signing, and although he was not perfunctory, he was definitely not in the mood to talk to fans. So, after the book signing event, she went back to the dormitory to pack up, and went directly to the scene, ready to stay up all night to queue up, and make sure Adam was the first to sign for her. But don't say you are early, there are always people who are earlier than you. When she arrived, there were already several people queuing up in front of her, and several boys dressed as otakus were fully equipped, and they looked like veterans. Although she was a little unhappy and had no hope of being the first, she was still in the top 10. So she cheered up and stood in line behind a girl with long hair and glasses. After thinking it over, she found another advantage, that is, the people who came here now were all die-hard fans of the Lord of Mysteries, and they had more topics to talk about with her than those glamorous people in the book signing event who got excited when talking about the author's appearance. Yes, those glamorous people said nice things, but how could they have the perseverance to stay up all night to queue up? Who knows where she is fooling around with men? The night is too long, and chatting with these like-minded people about their feelings about the plot is definitely a good way to kill time. So she poked the long-haired girl with glasses in front of her and took the initiative to say hello. Hi. The long-haired girl with glasses in front of her turned around. Her eyes were a little stunned, and her face was a little stiff. Obviously, she didn't expect the red-haired girl to say hello to her. Hello. My name is Emily. Hello, my name is Amy. The red-haired girl Emily's eyes lit up and smiled. We are quite predestined. Our names are so similar. Hee hee. The long-haired girl Amy laughed. The red-haired Emily's smile froze. But she was shocked by Amy's smile. It was too weird and unnatural. Normal people's smiles were not like this. Could it be that this Amy was not an ordinary person? It was night time, and it was the time when the dark and terrifying creatures appeared. The red-haired Emily immediately fell into a series of horror story associations, and her whole body trembled slightly. But she was not scared, but excited. Being a die-hard fan of horror elements is no joke. So, Amy, which character do you like best in Lord of Mysteries? Red-haired Emily stared at Amy with burning eyes, as if she wanted to find more evidence that the other party was a supernatural creature. Klein? Amy looked a little flustered. Red-haired Emily became more excited. Her tone was very hesitant, which was not the attitude of a die-hard fan at all. If she was not a die-hard fan, why did she stay up late to queue? There is a problem. The possibility that the other party was a supernatural creature increased by another 10%. Afterwards, red-haired Emily actively chatted with Amy and tried to understand her, only to find out that the other party was not a die-hard fan of Lord of Mysteries. Amy had just watched Lord of Mysteries. This disappointed red-haired Emily a little, because she found that Amy should not be a supernatural creature, but just a person who was not good at communicating with others. The reason for queuing was probably because of the author's appearance. However, after learning that Amy was also an alumnus of Harvard and a member of the reading club next door, the two gradually started chatting. Then they were surprised to find that they both liked the English poet Chaucer, and they both loved to sew flower quilts. The two exchanged ideas about Chaucer's advocacy of equality between men and women and the praise of free and loyal love. Of course, Chaucer would also expose the fraud, greed and licentious nature of church monks and the upper class, and deeply criticize the unspeakable plots in the story. For example, the story of the miller. According to Amy, it was the most lube she had ever read. If she hadn't skipped 2 grades and went to college at the age of 16 and left her mother, she would never have seen such a book. Emily had obviously read it too, and she laughed. Especially Amy reminded her seriously that kissing the other eye below was very unhygienic from a hygiene point of view. From this perspective, the story of the miller was really dirty. Emily almost burst out laughing. Coupled with the skills of sewing, the night passed quickly. Everything was going well until Emily found out the real purpose of Amy's coming. "Hi, Amy. You're here, great, thank you for helping me line up." "You're welcome. Here, Amy is helping us line up." A large number of book club friends swarmed in and all cut in front of Amy. Emily could bear it at first, but they kept cutting in line. After one cut in line, another one came, and soon she was pushed from the top 10 to the back of the 20s. And this trend was still expanding. She couldn't bear it anymore and got angry. "We are Amy's friends. We are together, so it doesn't count as cutting in line." Those people pushed back with one sentence. "Amy?" Emily looked at Amy. Amy looked away and didn't dare to look at Emily. "Sorry, they are my friends." "See?" Those people looked at Emily with pride, almost making Emily angry to death. As time went by, the group in front of her had new friends who cut in line and pushed Emily to the middle. Emily's initial affection for Amy because of their common interests completely disappeared. P.S. Thanks to my wife is Kaguya for the tip. I've been busy these days, so I've updated less. I'm sorry, but I'll try to resume 4 updates as soon as possible, and there will be more in the evening. Chapter 241 Who? Boston. Book signing event. Adam's arrival completely ignited the atmosphere here. "What's your name?" After sitting down, Adam asked with a smile, looking at the fan in the first line. "Daisy." Standing in the front was a girl with ordinary appearance. She was very excited when she heard Adam's question. Adam signed the words to Daisy, "Your friend Adam Duncan" on the title page of the new book Daisy bought, and then handed it to her with a smile. "Thank you, thank you." Daisy took the book and looked at the signature on it, very happy. "No, thank you," Adam said sincerely. These readers, especially loyal readers, are his parents who provide him with food and clothing. I still remember the excitement when I was a little loser in my previous life and met the first comment and reward. Even if I became a salted fish author who only attended all the time, the first alliance in my life still made him feel excited. This is not about money. The alliance leader only got 500 or 300 yuan out of 1,000 yuan, but this encouragement far exceeds its own value and is a great affirmation of personal value. In this life, he stood on the shoulders of the great God, became a well-known writer, and had more and more fans, but he was still grateful for the support of his readers. Daisy left happily, and the second person immediately took over. Adam also asked for the name, and then wrote your friend Adam Duncan. Later, when someone specifically asked to add a few more words they wanted, he agreed one by one. This is much more troublesome than just signing. The organizer of Random House came to remind him to only sign his name, but he refused. They were all enthusiastic readers, and this small request must be met. He couldn't bear to see their disappointed looks. This is also the reason why he didn't want to participate in more book signings, because this will greatly extend the time of the book signing. Even if he has endurance, he can't stand signing for such a long time. His principle is that either don't hold a book signing, or if you do, you must make all the readers who participate very satisfied. The team moved forward step by step, but the length did not decrease much, because there were still readers who heard the news and passers-by who joined in the fun. This situation is normal. For example, Leonard and his friends always ask for autographs whenever they see a celebrity. They may not even know those outdated celebrities, but once they meet them, they will ask for autographs and even spend money to buy autographs. This is a habit, just like when Leonard and Sheldon bought the great sword from the Lord of the Rings at Stewart's comic shop. Stewart offered $250, saying it was a limited edition friendship price. Sheldon never understood irony and bluffing, and happily thought that Stewart really gave a friendship price, and urged Leonard to buy it. But Leonard knew that Stewart was not honest, so he bargained down to $200. Stewart offered $235, then $225, and finally $210. Leonard agreed, but also asked Stewart to give him an Iron Man helmet. Stewart said it was an autographed version of Robert Downey Jr. Leonard asked, "So?" Stewart was immediately angry and said excitedly, "Well, if you are going to question the importance of a movie adapted from a comic book and a plastic helmet signed by the actors, then what is the meaning of our lives?" Leonard was speechless and agreed to Stewart's offer. Then, Stewart put away his excited and angry expression just now, and happily went to place an order, muttering, "I have meat to eat this week." It was because of Leonard and Sheldon that Stewart did not starve to death and could occasionally eat meat. In comic shops, comic companies, film companies, games, toys, figurines and other peripherals could flourish. If Leonard, Sheldon and Adam didn't know each other now, and happened to pass by the scene and saw so many people queuing up to buy signed novels, they would probably join in the fun, and line up to buy them regardless of whether they liked them or not. Adam's autograph session will continue. Red-haired Emily and Amy's positions kept moving forward. When Amy was close enough to Adam, she saw Adam, who was smiling brightly, suddenly trembled all over and made a strange sound. Hutilda Emily, who was staring at her from behind, noticed this abnormality and was very surprised. When Amy made the Hutilda sound for the second time, the kind-hearted Amy finally put aside her dissatisfaction temporarily and asked with concern, "What's wrong with you?" "I don't know," Amy said in panic. "My heart beat faster, my palms sweated, my mouth was dry, and my blood vessels twitched locally." "Local?" Emily asked. "My ears and lower body," Amy said in panic. "What's wrong with me?" "Let me guess." Emily glanced at Adam, then at Amy. She liked medicine and planned to study medicine in the future. She had some understanding of some common situations. Moreover, she was thoughtful and a girl, so she probably guessed what happened. "You felt this way after you saw Adam, right?" "Yes." Amy nodded immediately. "What happened to me?" "You really don't know?" Emily couldn't help laughing. "You're already in college." Then she thought that although Amy looked a little anxious and didn't look like a 16-year-old, and it was a little incredible that a 16-year-old girl in the United States didn't know these things, but it was still possible. So she leaned close to Amy's ear and whispered, "You were impulsive." "Oh." Amy was startled, and then regained her composure. "Just oh?" Emily was surprised. If it were any other girl, she would blush and feel embarrassed if someone reminded her of her impulsiveness in public. Even Penny was probably like this before she was 14. Old drivers are trained. But Amy's state is obviously abnormal. She is obviously a girl, but she shows the calmness of an old driver. I have a stomach, so I get hungry, Amy said seriously. I have reproductive organs, so I naturally have sexual impulses. This is normal, isn't it? Hee. Emily's mouth twitched, and she suddenly didn't know what to say. This made so much sense, especially with Amy's serious expression and tone. It seemed that nothing she said was good. Forget it. He's just a weirdo, Emily thought to herself, and ignored Amy. Adam looked up at the people, lowered his head to sign, and his smile remained unchanged. When he saw Amy and Emily out of the corner of his eye, he was stunned at first, and then overjoyed. Emily aside, Amy's IQ is definitely high. A neurologist can keep up with the thinking of theoretical physicist Sheldon, cooperate to complete the most cutting-edge research in theoretical physics, and share the Nobel Prize in Physics. Even if her IQ is not as good as Sheldon's, it should be higher than Leonard's. Sheldon is 5+, Leonard is 3+, and Amy should be 4+ if nothing unexpected happens. This provides a great increase in Adam's wisdom points. But his smile didn't last long, especially when he saw Amy making a strange tilde sound to him. His smile froze there. Chapter 242 CP Ranking, Boston, Book Signing Event. Holy shit. When Adam saw Amy's classic scene, and the target was him, he almost spit out a mouthful of complaints in his heart. But it's normal to think about it. What does Penny's ex-boyfriend Zach have? He is tall, but he is barely handsome. Even so, he can make Amy can't help but let out a tilde, not to mention Adam's conditions. But it is precisely because of knowing that Adam has a headache, he would rather be really ordinary than have such a scene happen. Amy is Sheldon's true love. In Adam's mind, the best CP ranking is ranked third, only below Matthew and Lily first, Howard and Bernadette second. It ranks higher than Chandler and Monica. Without Amy's tolerance, confrontation, and training of Sheldon, let alone 8 years, Sheldon would not become more and more like a normal person even if it was 80 years. In the previous life, Penny and Sheldon's CP was also very popular. One of Adam's friends chose to quit the show because Penny was picked up by Leonard instead of Sheldon. According to him, it is outrageous that the only pretty heroine in The Big Bang Theory is not with the protagonist Sheldon. The real protagonist Leonard cried silently beside him. Penny is the heroine, but he is indeed the hero. The two are a good match. We can't stop treating Sheldon as the hero just because he plays too well and has too much charm. Even the heroine should be given to the first male supporting actor Sheldon. Penny has some of the style of Sheldon's mother. She is very tolerant of Sheldon, and the title of Penny's mother is also very famous. When Sheldon finally described his love with Amy, he once said, "Amy can do everything that his mother can do for him, and Amy can do everything that his mother can't do for him." Thinking about it this way, the call for Penny's mother and Sheldon's CP is not without reason. And Sheldon and Penny did have some ambiguous interactions. For example, when Penny slipped in the bathroom, Sheldon closed his eyes to dress Penny, and touched the wrong arm. Facing Penny's somewhat embarrassed inquiry, "Is this an arm?" Sheldon also felt it carefully and said it didn't look like an arm. Before putting on clothes, he had to help Penny out of the bathtub. Penny asked Sheldon not to look, and Sheldon's attitude was very interesting. He agreed well, but later he knew that Penny had a tattoo on her butt. Of course, unlike Leonard, Howard, and Rajesh's lustful voyeurism, Sheldon may have glanced more out of curiosity, but this already shows that Penny is very special to Sheldon. After all, Amy, who has a strong desire, often asks Sheldon to have intimate contact with her as a girlfriend, and Sheldon always refuses. For example, Penny once did a love experiment with Sheldon. They looked at each other for a long time, and Penny did feel moved. Amy and the others have speculated that if Leonard was not there, it was Penny who initiated the dirty girl temptation to Sheldon in the laundry room. In this life, with Peggy as a variable, Sheldon's emotional life has become unknown. But Adam feels that there is a 95% probability that Amy and Sheldon will be together in the future. Compared with Penny, Amy's IQ is closer to Sheldon's. Not to mention the Nobel Prize in Physics that they shared later, Amy also provided academic assistance to Sheldon's opponent, Barry Klepek, a theoretical physicist at the California Institute of Technology. which once made Sheldon very jealous. You know, Barry Klepek has always bullied Sheldon, and their research is still overlapping, but Sheldon can't despise Barry academically. Even later, when the school cut funding and the two had to cooperate, Sheldon found that his research results were completely inferior to Barry's. In the end, he could only use the excuse Barry found for him to fool him. You have Amy as a girlfriend, your energy must have been distracted, and of course there are no research results. If it were Barry himself, he would definitely be crazy about output, so how could he have the energy to do research? Every time Sheldon works with Barry, he can only tell dirty jokes that he doesn't have with Amy to divert Barry's attention. From this point of view, Barry has a high IQ and is very professional, but Amy can provide Barry with great help across majors, which shows how powerful Amy is. In terms of IQ, only Peggy is better than her, and Penny, in Sheldon's eyes, is just a blonde monkey. Then in terms of tolerance, Peggy was directly passed out. She was too proud, and like Sheldon, she liked the feeling that she was better than everyone else. It was impossible for her to accommodate Sheldon, and if she didn't accommodate, Sheldon would definitely turn the table over, and even put her at the top of the blacklist. In this regard, Penny and Amy are similar. Both of them are very accommodating to Sheldon, but Amy is better because she is more purposeful. In the positive guidance experiment, Sheldon pointed out that heart feedback is more effective than any reward feedback. Therefore, it is reasonable that Amy can tolerate Sheldon's quirks more, because she is extremely greedy for Sheldon's body. Finally, it is about training. Peggy has no data for analysis, so she is temporarily excluded. Amy and Penny both train Sheldon, either explicitly or implicitly, intentionally or unintentionally. Penny was passive and unintentional, and Amy was active and intentional. This is determined by her personality and career. She is a neurologist who often uses the study of monkeys and gorillas to study the laws of human neurobehavior, teaches monkeys to smoke, and throws feces at gorillas. Sheldon said Penny was a blonde female monkey, but in fact Sheldon was also trained by Amy as a monkey. When Amy and Sheldon were dating for a year, she once told Bernadette and others that she had a clear timetable for this relationship. She would marry Sheldon in 4 years, but asked Bernadette and others not to tell Sheldon because Sheldon was still a cooked duck that could fly away at any time. 4 years later, when Amy was out for communication, Sheldon's admirer pursued him again. Amy was very angry when she heard the news and said, "I have been taking pictures of the butt of that bottle of ketchup for 5 years, and now that woman only needs to pour it out and enjoy it." Then Sheldon proposed to her. Sheldon was ready to break up with Amy because Leonard and Penny said that he was changed too much by Amy, but Amy retreated to advance and easily dealt with Sheldon. Amy's training methods can be imagined. This example is not only for Sheldon. Amy is also the same with Penny. Originally, Penny didn't like Amy at all, let alone a best friend, but Amy quietly used various means to become Penny's BFF, including but not limited to filling Penny's apartment with her scent, almost fawning on Penny, and often praising Penny. This kind of training is silent, and often takes years as a unit, and the patience is terrible. This is also what Adam is most worried about. Chapter 243. Everyone named Amy is scary. Now, Amy, a young girl, has a crush on Adam. Adam wants to be friends with Amy and gain 4+ wisdom points. What will the result be? Adam is not optimistic about this. If he tries to establish friendship with Amy, he has no doubt that this will send a wrong signal. Amy will probably set her target as Adam in advance. Then she might confess to Adam, "Standing in front of you is 130 pounds of boiling estrogen, eager to hug your gluteus maximus and do a beastly thing," as Shakespeare metaphorically said. Adam is not Zack. Even if he is a drama queen, his wise eyes cannot interpret a blank and foolish expression. Moreover, as a well-known writer, Amy will not believe that Adam is a fool like Zack. What's more, Amy does not have a boyfriend like Sheldon to encourage her to follow the call of the endocrine system at this moment. Even if Adam really reproduces Zack's confused look, Amy may not give up. At this moment, she is still a girl, not the extremely rational neurologist more than 10 years later. If Adam refuses, there is no doubt that he will no longer be friends with her, and he will not even think about getting 4+ wisdom points. Why not refuse? Although Amy, a young girl, does not show any flesh as required by her mother, and looks very rustic, she is less than 130 pounds now. If you observe carefully, you can see that she is a pretty girl. She is not very pretty, but she is also 60% to 70% attractive. If it were someone else, Adam might have sacrificed himself for 4+ wisdom points. But she is Amy, Sheldon's true love. Although Adam is romantic, he has already set a principle that he will never get involved with girls in his good friend circle. Even Rachel, who is 90% pretty and the eternal American sweetheart, took the initiative to seduce him, but he rejected her with great perseverance. Not to mention Amy, a young girl with only 60% pretty. And those named Amy are all tough characters. There is no need to mention his ex-girlfriend, Magical Amy, and his mother Amy. Sheldon's Amy has terrible patience and terrible training methods, and this is only the rational aspect. Although these things gave Adam a headache, as long as he was alert, he could resolve them calmly. In fact, they were nothing. But Amy was not completely rational. As she said, she was a 130-pound boiling estrogen. This exaggerated metaphor was not without basis. Amy had been controlled by her mother since she was a child, and she lived an extremely depressed life. Before college, she had hardly ever gone to school. Her mother tutored her almost all the time because her mother was afraid that she would be deceived by boys. The boys in school were all bad. This was true. But it was too much. If Amy hadn't had a super IQ, she would never have been admitted to Harvard University. The young girl Amy lived this kind of repressed life. Indeed, no male classmates could deceive her, but no female classmates were willing to contact her. She was lonely and could only play with herself. For example, she created a way of speaking that belonged to her, and later taught it to Penny. The two also used this way of speaking to communicate and fight against Sheldon and Leonard's gossip in Klingon. For example, when playing the coin into paper cup drinking game with Penny, she never failed, which made Penny unable to continue playing, because this was a game she had played too many times when she was lonely and had become very good at it. At this time, the young girl Amy didn't know if she would impulsively do something terrible. But Adam remembered that the 22-year-old Amy once threatened someone else with insulin infusion because she wanted to give her first kiss. This looks ridiculous and pitiful, but it is also extremely scary. If insulin is not injected in time, the patient may fall into a coma, and if no one finds it, there is even a risk of death. Similar to this, in order to have more physical contact with people, she often goes to see a gynecologist. In order to respond to the call of the endocrine system, she also went to those very messy parties, got drunk, and created opportunities for everyone to pick up corpses. Unfortunately, she was used to acting ugly, so when she woke up the next day, nothing she liked to see happened. No one touched her, but someone covered her with a quilt. There is also the indescribable chapter of The Thunder King, which studies the relationship between electric shocks and the peak of life. She participated in it as a volunteer hundreds of times. Not to mention that after she fell in love with Sheldon, she couldn't wait to have an intimate relationship with Sheldon. It was so naked that everyone knew it. It can be seen that it is not too exaggerated to say that she is a 130-pound boiling estrogen. In addition to this rationality, suppressing the restlessness that may break out at any time is what Adam is most worried about, because even if Amy doesn't get together with Sheldon in the end, such an Amy is someone Adam doesn't want to provoke. A girl who is extremely rational, good at forbearance, professional in studying neuropsychological behavior, professional, secretive and effective means, and has a super high IQ, a suppressed personality that may break out at any time, and a girl with a lot of revenge. If it weren't in the comedy world, this would look like a template for a supervillain. And this world is indeed not just the single comedy world of the Big Bang Theory. There are too many terrible existences. Once Adam changes Amy's life trajectory too much and gives her a wrong signal, no one knows what Amy will become. Another Magical Amy? No, it must be countless times more terrible than Magical Amy. In the original Time and Space, when she wanted to help Penny, she once said, "I have a virus in my laboratory. I can take it anytime." If she had never thought about it, How could she say it casually? Magical Amy is just hard work, and her methods can't escape the routines of Juan. Adam is not afraid of it at all with his current strength. But once this Amy becomes terrible, her methods are unimaginable, cruel and fierce, secret and long-lasting. Adam really can't bear it, and there is a risk of GG if he is not careful. This is his biggest headache. Therefore, even if Amy can provide him with 4+ wisdom points, his mind is racing, and after thinking again and again, he decided to give up, just treat her as an ordinary reader, and resolutely not give her any wrong signals. Of course, if Adam is a person like Sheldon who is not interested in the heart, it doesn't matter if he is targeted by Amy. On the contrary, such Amy is the most suitable for Sheldon. Amy's terrible patience, confrontation, and training are unacceptable to others, but they are a perfect fit for Sheldon. Couples should complement each other, and one party must take the initiative and sacrifice. Amy is proactive enough, sacrificial enough, and patient enough to train Sheldon like a monkey. If it were Leonard, he would definitely hate this kind of coldness like his mother. But Sheldon is most envious of Leonard for having such a cool mother. Beverly has been using Leonard for experiments since he was a child. Sheldon said that he wanted to study himself since he was a child, and he had to stick electrodes on his brain himself. Leonard is completely unaware of his blessings. The magical thing is that Amy and Beverly are both neurologists. They can tolerate and accept Sheldon's quirks, appreciate Sheldon's wisdom and appearance, and have enough wisdom and means to train Sheldon. If it weren't for the fear of being too bloody, Sheldon might have become Leonard's stepfather when Beverly kissed Sheldon drunk. Age doesn't matter to Sheldon and Beverly, because both of them are not interested in the heart, but pay more attention to spiritual communication. Sheldon was over 30 years old before he gave Amy his beloved body as a birthday gift to his girlfriend. After that, it was only once a year, known as the annual birthday canon. Beverly, the same thing, did not sleep with her husband for 8 years. Physical aging and mismatch brought by age are not a problem at all. Sheldon took the initiative to say that he had never been so comfortable around anyone, and the same was true for Beverly. Leonard's father, served him like a cow and a horse for more than 10 years, and Sheldon said that he was still not used to Leonard being around him. This contrast further highlights the difference between Beverly and Sheldon. Amy appeared later. It would be strange to say that there was no reference to Beverly's character. Leonard almost never spends time alone with Amy. Once he is alone, he feels uncomfortable all over. Although he didn't say it clearly, it is obvious that Amy reminds him of his mother who gave him a headache. Beverly was not suitable, so Amy appeared. Therefore, Amy is really Sheldon's true love. These thoughts flashed in Adam's mind. When Amy came to him, Adam suppressed the complicated thoughts in his heart and treated Amy as an ordinary reader he didn't know. He asked her name and then wrote it on the title page of her new book in a proper manner. To Amy Phyla Fowler, your friend Adam Duncan. Without any extra words or expressions, Adam didn't look at Amy's throbbing eyes, but looked directly at the next person, red-haired Emily. P.S. Thank you Kang Hyeshinka for the reward. There will be more in the evening. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244. Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. Boston, book signing event. Amy stood not far away with her signed new book, and she didn't seem to want to leave. Adam chose to ignore him and looked at the red-haired Emily. Hello, Mr. Duncan. My name is Emily, and I like your Lord of Mysteries very much, Emily said excitedly. Thank you. Adam looked at his most beautiful girlfriend in the future who was missed by Rajesh because of his pretentiousness. Red hair was her trademark. She was tall and thin, and her appearance was about 80%. At this moment, she was only 17 or 18 years old, young and beautiful. In his eyes, she was an absolute beauty. Judging from her attitude, it was obvious that she was his fan. Emily was not within his principal range, and Rajesh had a signed version of the Hulk boxing gloves by Mr. Stan Lee. Adam thought of many seniors in the entertainment industry at once, such as Pahui, Laoang, Lao Tzu, etc. Feeling that Amy was still looking at this side, Adam didn't say much to Emily, in case Amy thought too much, so he wrote down his signature and handed it to Emily. Emily happily took it, and very politely walked away to give the seat to the person behind her. When she walked to the side and opened the cover, her face flushed and her heart pounded. "Why are you still here? Where are your friends?" Emily adjusted herself for a long time, and saw Amy standing there alone. She couldn't help but walk over and said with a hint of sarcasm. Originally, after chatting all night, she thought she and Amy were friends, but she didn't expect to be stabbed in the back. Now seeing Amy's group of friends who cut in line leaving in groups, and not paying any attention to Amy's intentions, she couldn't help but feel angry and amused. They left, Amy said a little disappointed. She stayed up late to queue up, not because of the request of the group of friends who cut in line, but because she took the initiative to hope to attract the attention of book friends. But as always, Amy before, nobody after. "Are you feeling better?" Seeing this, Emily also put away her sarcasm. "Huh?" Amy was stunned. "You're who?" Emily pouted in the direction of Adam and said strangely. "Much better," Amy said expressionlessly. "I can't even make friends with the book club friends, let alone have a closer contact with Adam Duncan." "What about you?" Emily hesitated. "Are you talking about heart impulse?" Amy said honestly. "I studied biology. Since I know it's heart impulse, there are many ways to solve it. It doesn't necessarily require Adam Duncan. I can." Okay. Emily raised her hand to interrupt Amy's next explosive remarks, staring at Amy in amazement. Such words can be said so seriously. It seems that Amy is more suitable to be a doctor than her. "Are you leaving?" "Where to?" Amy seemed a little stiff. "Back to Harvard," Emily said speechlessly. "You have already got the signature. Why are you still standing here? You don't want to wait for Adam, do you?" At this point, she couldn't help but complain. "Didn't you say that you have many ways that don't require Adam?" "You are right." Amy's eyes flashed behind her glasses and she nodded seriously. As for what is right, she didn't say. Emily felt really tired talking to her, thinking of Amy's weirdness. Although she forgave her, she was too lazy to sort out their relationship again. "You continue. I'm leaving first." After saying that, without waiting for Amy to ask what to continue, Emily walked away happily holding the new book that Adam had signed for her. Although Amy's friend cut in line, it was definitely worth it to stay up late to queue up for the Idol's book signing event. Today was a really wonderful day. The book signing lasted until noon. Even Adam, who had endurance, couldn't hold on any longer. Fortunately, the organizer of Random House had experience and stopped the queue an hour in advance, which allowed Adam to finish the book signing event. What made him breathe a sigh of relief was that Amy finally left after standing there for half an hour. Back to Juno in their apartment. Adam lay down on the sofa, rubbing his right hand that signed, and said self-deprecatingly, "I always thought I was the real God's hand, but now it seems that I am still the fake God's hand." "Then you should relax," Max habitually said. "You don't have to do it tonight, Tilda." Adam's mouth twitched, and he fought back. "Don't say you can only use one hand, even if I ask you to use both hands and feet. If I call you, will you dare to answer? What's there to be afraid of?" Max showed no weakness. As the strongest female driver, she can be timid when encountering force majeure, but she will never be timid with her mouth. Juno smiled and watched the two people bickering while driving, with an expression of "That's it, don't stop, it's time to eat." Karen prepared lunch and called everyone to eat. Her cooking skills are really amazing. Obviously, whether you are attentive or not is more important than whether you have talent. After a satisfying meal, everyone took a short rest. Adam and Max had a good discussion on the question of "If I call you, will you dare to answer?" "I found that just like the mud and fat jade bottle in Journey to the West, no matter what you say, as long as you respond with a breath, it will be sucked into the mud and fat jade bottle, and in a moment, it will turn into thick water." After lunch break, Juno looked at Adam with some surprise, because she didn't hear any movement. Based on her understanding of Adam, this is very abnormal. Adam winked at her and smiled triumphantly. Juno looked at Max carefully, thought about it for a while, and immediately understood what happened. Adam is still the same Adam, And the title of Giselin in the American TV series is not in vain. Harvard University. With Juno as a guide, the tour is naturally very pleasant. The four came to Harvard Medical School. It is worthy of being a holy place for medical students. It is the weekend, and there are almost 3 or 2 people sitting under the shade of the surrounding trees, holding large books and reading. The arrival of the four attracted a lot of people's attention, not to mention Juno and Karen, the 2 influential figures. Adam's handsomeness and Max's heinous crimes are particularly eye-catching. "Hi, Juno," someone waved soon. "Hi, Meredith." Juno also smiled and waved. Seeing Adam looking over, she whispered, "This is the Meredith Grey I told you about. Let's go over and introduce her to you." Adam nodded and looked at Grey sitting there under the shade of the tree. He sighed in his heart. She was really charming. No wonder Chandler and Ross were obsessed with her. And her voice was indeed special, which made people feel strange. "Let me introduce her to you." The 4 of them walked in front of Grey, and Juno took the initiative to introduce the 2 parties. "Adam, this is Meredith Grey, the beauty of our Harvard Medical School class of 1995. Meredith, this is Adam Duncan." Adam and Grey looked at each other and shook hands. "Hello, Miss Grey." "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool. P.S. I really didn't mean to be sarcastic. The Big Bang Theory is still about 10 years away." At this point, Amy and Emily are both at Harvard, so they just happened to meet. I thought of inserting some plots of the Big Bang Theory for readers who like the Big Bang Theory to see, and specially described some funny stories of Amy. However, at this time they can only be psychological activities. I didn't handle it well, and caused strong opposition from everyone. I will definitely not write like this next time. Sorry. Chapter 245, Rebirth of the Old Dream. Harvard Medical School. In front of the building, under the shade of the tree. "Good afternoon, Mr. Full." Hearing Grey's unique voice say such a familiar and special greeting, Adam's heart was moved. It seems that she is a fan of the Lord of Mysteries again. No wonder everyone wants to be famous. TSK. But Adam soon suppressed this wave of ripples. But it was because when the 2 shook hands, his palm was scratched, which made him suddenly realize, the person in front of him is the female version of Barney Stinson. Knowing that Max was with Adam, she still scratched him blatantly. It was really too wild and unbearable. He really regretted forgetting the plot of Grey's Anatomy now, because he seriously suspected that this style of American drama with a female lead was probably produced by HBO. But if it was produced by HBO, he should be able to remember many famous scenes. "Miss Grey also likes the Lord of Mysteries?" Adam took the initiative to let go of his hand and said with a smile, "Just call me Meredith." Grey smiled and said, "I like everything new." Lord of Mysteries has been a hot novel in recent years, so I've read it, not to mention that it's the work of Juno's best friend. "She praises me?" Adam glanced at Juno in surprise, and the curve of his mouth couldn't be controlled at all. "Yes," Juno continued, smiling and saying, "I told her some of your romantic stories, and everyone admires you." "Don't listen to her." Grey smiled and said, "She said you are her best friend. When you wrote Lord of Mysteries, she was very shocked because she didn't know you had such talent before. When it comes to liking Lord of Mysteries, she is your #1 fan." "Really?" Adam smiled proudly, feeling so happy. Although he knew that Grey was exaggerating, he still had to give her a shadow. The pleasure of being praised behind someone's back is 10 times greater than being praised in person, especially when this person is Juno. "You should have said it earlier." Adam put his arm around Juno's shoulder and said with a smile, "If I had known earlier, I would have named Hugh Dilsha after you, and Furs Wall. It would have been Karen." "I see." Grey stared at Juno and Karen, her eyes flashing with gossip. "I've long felt that the prototypes of Hugh and Furs were Juno and Karen." Juno smiled and said nothing. Karen also smiled. Because she had seen the Lord of Mysteries, she was very satisfied with the interaction between Hugh and Furs, and was looking forward to the subsequent development. Everyone chatted for a while and then left. "How do you feel?" Juno and Adam walked side by side and smiled. "Very impressive," Adam exclaimed. "It's just as you said. She tickled him as soon as they met. How could it not be impressive?" "She tickled you, didn't she?" Juno moved closer to Adam and whispered teasingly. "Huh?" Adam was surprised. How could she see through such a secret action? Don't be surprised, Juno joked. This is her old traditional skill. I have been tickled by her before. Has she always been like this? Adam couldn't help asking, without any cover-up. Remember you once told me that every legendary figure with American characteristics, good or bad, has a similar childhood story? Juno laughed. You mean, she had an unhappy childhood, so she developed this unruly character? Adam was speechless. Yeah, Juno nodded and smiled playfully. According to her statement, that should be what she meant. Her mother is the famous Gray, a well-known female doctor in the medical field. She divorced Meredith's father and raised Meredith alone. She was very strict with Meredith since she was a child, and Meredith's mother was very busy at work and had almost no time to care for her. Therefore, the relationship between mother and daughter was very bad. Meredith, who was left unattended, naturally developed this kind of personality and style. Now, you don't agree with her statement? Adam laughed. I don't quite agree. Juno shook her head and said, family background and childhood trauma are only one aspect. It's more about one's own choice, just like you. At this point, she changed her tone and looked at Adam with a smile. The Duncan family is a well-known happy family. You don't have any childhood trauma, right? Isn't it the same as Meredith? It can be seen that childhood trauma and other things are mostly excuses for indulgence. Adam's mouth twitched. He agreed with Juno's point of view. Childhood trauma and other things did have an impact, but it was definitely not something that could be attributed to it. What kind of person you grow up to is more of a personal choice. What she said was true, but why use him as an example? He is a million miles away from Meredith. Okay. The four of them went back after visiting Harvard University. There was a banquet in the evening, and Adam and Max needed to prepare. In an apartment near Harvard, a woman in her 20s sat lazily in front of the dressing mirror, holding a copy of The Lord of Mysteries in her hand, looking at the author's line printed on it, and her eyes fell on the name of Adam Duncan. I really didn't expect it, the woman murmured to herself. The little boy back then has grown up to this point. Interesting, interesting. Amy. An old female voice came from outside the door, and then without waiting for the woman to agree, the bedroom door was pushed open. An old woman dressed exquisitely walked in slowly. Mom, Amy called indifferently. You haven't started to dress up yet? The old woman scolded. I have always told you that women should pay attention to their image at any time. You are our magical Amy. Magic Amy is a person in the book, Amy said lightly. I am not her. No, you are her. The old woman walked to Amy, stroked her head, and said in a firm tone, it has always been. Everyone knows, so you must be. Amy did not speak, but looked at her mother in the mirror. Don't be naughty. The old woman patted Amy on the head. I know you have a problem with magical Amy, but don't forget that everything you have is given by her. She is like your own sister. You must know how to protect her, understand? After that, her stern eyes reflected into Amy's eyes through the mirror. Amy sighed in her heart and nodded slightly. Just as the old woman said, everything she has is given by magical Amy in her parents' book, or more precisely, by her parents. She is not financially independent, so even if she is unhappy, she can only bear it. That's good. Seeing that Amy surrendered as always, the old woman smiled with satisfaction. Now, hurry up and put on your makeup and dress up. I heard that there will be a new writer from New York at the party tonight. He is young and promising. You can communicate more. Haha. Amy smiled and said meaningfully, I will. Chapter 246 Stay away from me. Night fell. A writers' gathering organized by Random House was underway. You have so many parties. Max took Adam's hand and said sarcastically, are you all free? Really? Adam laughed softly. So-called networking is just bragging and talking nonsense, and writers often publish a book every few years. They have very little time to actually write, and the rest of the time is spent on getting inspiration, collecting materials, and conceiving plots. And inspiration. Haha. I know that, Max said sarcastically. The artist's muse. Only the goddess can give you enough inspiration. One goddess, one work, just like you. Ahem. Adam coughed lightly and said speechlessly, why do you involve me again? Aren't we talking about other people? You are now publishing the fourth part of Lord of Mysteries, The Undead. Max rolled his eyes at Adam. The first part was written when you graduated from high school. I heard that you and a girl named Jennifer were studying Transformers every day. The second part was written in your freshman year. I heard that you and a girl named Carolyn were doing charity work together. The third part was written in your sophomore and junior years. I heard that you and a girl named Heather often went hunting together. Now you are with me and wrote the fourth part. It's not what you want. Adam's mouth pumped, and he couldn't say anything about Max's "I look at you" apostrophe. It's just a coincidence, you said to me. In fact, the story of the secrets ended in my mind, and I didn't need any muse goddess inspiration at all. He just laughed. Adam suddenly realized and complained, "Max, you have become bad. Be careful not to be turned into a lesbian by Karen. I can do both straight and lesbian." "Max, the old driver," said Adam. Just as the two were laughing, a familiar voice came, which made Adam's heart tighten. He looked over and cursed in his heart. "It's you, Amy." "Adam, it's been a long time since we last met." Magical Amy's eyes were like water, and she wanted to say something but hesitated. "Yes." Adam nodded, and did not talk to her at all. He directly pulled Max in front of him, and poked Max's waist with one hand without any expression, and introduced, "This is Max." "Max, this is my high school classmate Amy Dunn." "Hello." Max was poked in the back of his waist, and he immediately understood, raised his head, straightened his chest and tightened his abdomen, and greeted with a smile, "Hello." Magical Amy's smile froze, and she glanced at the domineering Maxim and narrowed her eyes. "Just alumni." Magical Amy quickly restrained her emotions and said faintly, "It's still the ex-girlfriend." Adam frowned and reminded, "But unfortunately, I was dumped at that time. I had no choice at that time." Magical Amy had a sad expression. "After all, I am coming here to go to college, and you have just started high school. Texas is so far away from Harvard. Long-distance relationships are very painful." "You are right." Adam nodded. "Long-distance relationships are impossible. I will never have a long-distance relationship in this life." At this point, he smiled. "By the way, how are you in Boston?" "Just so." Magical Amy's eyes turned. "I heard that you studied in New York and published The Lord of Mysteries." "Congratulations. I didn't expect you to become a famous writer." "New York is a good place. My parents have been discussing and preparing to settle in New York recently. Now it seems that their idea is very good. It depends on the person." "New York is indeed big, but it is not suitable for everyone." Max puffed out his chest again. "Big has its advantages. Small has its advantages. The key is to be suitable. For example, Adam likes big, so he is used to New York." "Damn. I'm right next to you. Do you think I'm dead?" Max was full of fighting spirit, with a pair of aces, crushing him to death. Totally unworthy. Magical Amy glanced at Max, her eyes extremely cold. Max felt a chill on his back, and subconsciously retracted his aggressive chest thrust. "Adam, can we talk alone?" Magical Amy calmed Max down with a look and invited Adam. "Okay." Adam thought about it. Although he was not afraid of her, he didn't need to provoke her. It was better to make things clear first. "Max, wait for me." "Yeah." Max grabbed Adam's arm and whispered, "Come back early." When Adam and Magical Amy walked out of the hall and went to the garden, looking at their backs, Max laughed at himself and said, "Damn, what's wrong with me? I've been out for so long, I've seen everything, but I was scared by her eyes. Damn it, it's so embarrassing." "In the garden, what do you want to do?" Adam showed his cards directly, too lazy to pretend to be nice to Magical Amy. "I think we can start over." Magical Amy looked at Adam affectionately. "I was wrong at the beginning. I can make it up to you. But my feelings for you have never changed, and I believe you are the same." He. Adam laughed, suppressing his sarcasm, looked directly at Magical Amy, and said calmly, "Let the past be the past forever. We are all adults. Let's not talk about those fairy tales, okay?" "You are still blaming me." Magical Amy blamed herself. "I understand you, but I believe we are the most suitable couple. There were so many people in the school back then. Why did I choose you, a junior who was 4 years behind me? And you just happen to have a talent for writing? This is God's will." "That's not God's will, nor is it a writing talent, but this face." Adam pointed to his face and frowned. I heard from Juno that you are an outstanding graduate of the School of Psychology, and I also have a bachelor's degree in psychology. So can we stop playing these psychological games? What on earth do you want to do? Relive the old days? Backup plan? Control desire? Sorry, I'm not interested in any of them. You really haven't forgotten me. Magical Amy's face changed, and then her eyes flashed, and she smiled. Why else would you pay so much attention to me? Do you know why I pay attention to you? Adam's eyes turned cold. Magical Amy just smiled and didn't respond. Adam saw that she still wanted to pester him even though he said it so bluntly, so he showed his cards directly. That's because I want to make sure you stay away from me. Chapter 247. Write it down in your notebook. At the party, Max looked at the garden from a distance. After a while, the two of them broke up unhappily. What happened? What did they say? Max hurried over. She wanted to get back together, but I didn't agree. Adam's face was a little cold. What a bitch. Max laughed angrily and cursed. How shameless. She was so big, but the other party completely ignored her. This was intolerable. Do you think she really wants to get back together? Adam frowned and said, she just has a strong desire to control you. No way, Max said in disbelief. It's been so many years since you broke up, and she still has a desire to control you? It's exaggerated, isn't it? Adam sighed, but this is the fact. I also know that there is a boy who likes her very much. His family is very rich and he is very obsessed with her. He is always hanging by her several letters every year. If I have accomplished nothing, she may just laugh it off, but my strength does not allow it. Once in love, always a spare tire. I can dump you, but you must be obsessed with me. This is the magical logic of Magic Amy. Of course, most men and women have this subconsciousness to a certain extent, but not as obvious and extreme as Magical Amy. Bah. Max was speechless that Adam could still be narcissistic at this time. Yeah. Adam's eyes lit up and he nodded repeatedly. Max pushed Adam and frowned. Don't be ridiculous. What are you planning? Why do I feel that she is a little scary? That little look stared at me, and I felt cold all over. I have never met such a person. Stay away from her, Adam said seriously. Don't pay attention to her. The fact that you have this feeling shows that you are sensitive enough. She is indeed very dangerous. Then, he told her about the fact that Magical Amy's ex-boyfriend was framed by her and sent to jail. Hiss. Max took a breath of cold air and shuddered all over. Is she so cruel? This is just the tip of the iceberg, Adam reminded. She can do even more cruel things, so you must ignore her, and don't even touch her, in case she suddenly wants to plot against you. He had just talked it out with Magical Amy, but from the look of her, she didn't seem to be willing to give up. What about you? Max looked at Adam worriedly. I'm fine. Adam smiled and said, I have already warned her. If she makes any move, don't blame me. I didn't warn you. I'm not worried about that, Max said with a venomous tongue. I'm worried about your brother. His resistance is not strong enough. That's all your fault. Adam shot back. You are usually good at talking, but if you can really convince him, then what is there to worry about? While the two were bickering while driving, Adam kept looking at Magical Amy from the corner of his eye. Seeing her standing there, staring at this side with an expressionless face, he sighed in his heart and had already made a plan. Over there, Amy. That was Adam Duncan, right? Do you know him? An old couple came over and said happily. Yes, he was my ex-boyfriend in high school. Magical Amy looked at her parents and said calmly, Huh, there is such a relationship? The old woman's eyes lit up. Yes. Magical Amy sneered. Does your Magical Amy have one? This child. The old woman and her husband shook their heads and smiled. Our Magical Amy has grown up and won so many honors. It's time to start a relationship. I think Adam Duncan is a good prototype. What do you think? Yeah. Magical Amy's father, elegant and easygoing, nodded and said, young and famous, talented and beautiful, and childhood sweethearts. There should be a good market. You can consider it. Really? The old woman was very satisfied with her idea and discussed it directly with her husband. What do you think the tone of this relationship is? Sweet and immature, or painful? The two got inspiration and talked about the next story of Magical Amy directly. Magical Amy herself stood aside, her expression unchanged, and she was no longer surprised. Ever since she was little, she has lived in the shadow of Wonder Amy. Her parents adapted her story and it was a big success. At the age of 10, she gave up the cello, and in the book, Wonder Amy became a musical genius. In her freshman year, she wanted to join the volleyball team but was eliminated because of her physical fitness, and in the book, Wonder Amy joined the school team. She doesn't like dogs at all, but in the book, Wonder Amy has a dog named Puddle, and they are close because it makes readers more relatable. The Wonder Amy in the book is always one step ahead of her, stronger, more perfect and more extraordinary than her, while she is just an ordinary and flawed Amy. In fact, she hates Wonder Amy. But, as her mother said, Wonder Amy is her sister, and it is this sister who allows her to have a house, a trust fund and everything. So, she can only hate it in her heart, and in public, she still has to maintain the image of Wonder Amy, and from time to time she has to be interviewed about other interesting things in Wonder Amy's life. These behind-the-scenes stories that she doesn't have and can only be made up by her parents or herself are the most loved by readers. Now, the Wonder Amy in the book is trying to steal Adam away again. Thinking of this, Magical Amy looked at Adam who was flirting with Max over there. Her eyes turned cold. She was the only one who rejected people, and no one could reject her. Such a great person is not allowed to exist in her world. Amy, tell us about your story with Adam. Duncan, I have a feeling that this story will be very exciting. The old woman discussed with her husband for a long time, and then turned her attention back to her daughter and asked with some expectation. As for her daughter's early love in high school, she didn't care at all. Anyway, the Magical Amy in the book would not fall in love early, that is their perfect daughter. Hee. Magical Amy smiled and said playfully, yes, this story will be very exciting. However, this time, the Magical Amy in the book will no longer be one step ahead of her, and the direction of the story will be completely controlled by her. She is the real Magical Amy. After the party, back to her apartment. Magical Amy soaked in the bathtub, holding a glass of champagne in her hand and sipping it slowly. Her eyes flickered, as if countless pictures flashed by. An hour later, she came out in a bathrobe, took out a notebook from the password cabinet, and began to write. October 24, 1995, Boston. There is a writer's party tonight. I went there and unexpectedly ran into my high school ex-boyfriend. Although he is very different now and has a successful career, just like when I broke up with him, I no longer have any feelings for him. But he obviously doesn't think so. Chapter 248. Who writes a diary? Here, Magical Amy consciously began to write her diary in the form of a novel as a backup. Her parents are experts in this area, and they used her as a model. Sometimes they also needed her to cooperate. Therefore, she was influenced by her parents and participated in it personally. She has a unique talent in writing novels. In addition, she studied psychology and was an outstanding graduate of Harvard Psychology School. She can better guess other people's psychology. When writing novels, she can make the fabricated stories detailed and real. This is also a family tradition. Her parents also studied psychology. The reason why the Magical Amy series of books they wrote has been popular until now is that the story is real and the details are moving. Therefore, when Magical Amy went to college to choose a major, her parents let her study psychology. In the future, the Magical Amy series of books may be handed over to the Magical Amy herself to continue her glory. This is the hard work of her parents for half a lifetime and a huge source of income. Compared with the Magical Amy in the book, the real Amy is not important in their eyes. Otherwise, in the original time and space, when Amy pretended to be missing, her parents attended the press conference. They did not look like parents who were in pain after losing their daughter. Instead, they were calm and composed like a new book launch conference. It felt like the next book in the Amazing Amy series had a plan. Please look forward to it. Tonight's reunion. Adam's attitude made her very angry. She is a person with a strong possessive and controlling desire, and a stronger desire for revenge. If someone says a few words to her, she can secretly spit in someone's drink. When her husband cheated on her, she used suicide to frame him. This was not pretending, but she was really preparing to commit suicide. Adam, a man who was bitterly in love with her in the past and was actively dumped by her, now dared to do this to her after she expressed her attitude of wanting to get back together. No doubt, revenge. And this diary is the beginning. Over there, Adam returned to Juno's apartment and quarreled with Max as usual. After Max fell asleep, he got up and went to the living room. Standing by the window, he looked out for a long time, turned on the 286 desktop computer, and started typing. Da. Why are you typing again? Wasn't your new book just released? Juno stood behind him at some point, her head close to his, and looked at the manuscript Adam had typed while speaking. Gone Girl. New book? Sort of, Adam said casually, his fingers still tapping the keyboard. Juno didn't say anything, turned around to make a cup of tea for Adam, put it on the table, then sat next to Adam, quietly looking at the manuscript Adam had typed. He hadn't read the original novel, and now he was writing an outline based on the movie, roughly describing the important plot, so the number of words was not large. An hour later. Is this your speculation? Juno watched the whole movie from beginning to end, and the movie Lost Lover had already appeared in her mind. She immediately understood Adam's thoughts. Are you afraid that she will use this method to retaliate against you? So you want to make it public first? Yes. Adam did not hide it. If my speculation is correct, if she can really do such a thing, her biggest advantage is surprise and suicide attack. She is a woman, and a beautiful woman. In the eyes of the world, she is naturally the weaker party. Once something happens, the public will naturally stand on her side, because no one would ever think that she is the criminal party. So, her ex-boyfriend was caught and framed as a rapist. In order to retaliate against her cheating husband, she designed a series of evidence. Although it is quite meticulous, there are still flaws. However, with so much confirmed evidence, no one would believe that her husband is innocent. The United States has a jury system. As long as the jury members are convinced, even criminals can be acquitted. And the series of designs of Magic Amy can definitely make the jury, who are not professional criminal investigators, believe that her husband is guilty of a heinous crime. In addition, she deliberately created the identity of a pregnant woman, and those women's boxing and child and women's protection organizations will definitely stand on her side. With the combat effectiveness of these organizations, it is bound to stir up a huge public opinion. Even if the police knew that there was a big problem, they could only pretend not to know and close the case directly under the pressure of public opinion. This is why Magical Amy dared to design to kill the spare tire who had helped her for many years after giving up suicide, returned to the family with blood, and finally controlled her husband who knew the truth and wanted to expose it to be obedient. Her family is professional in playing with public opinion. But once The Vanishing Lover written by Adam is published, and public opinion is detonated, Magical Amy's means of surprise, manipulation of public opinion and various design evidence will be cut off in advance, and the threat of Magical Amy to him will be greatly reduced. If it's true as you wrote, her desire for revenge is so strong, Juno whispered, even if you block most of her means in advance, she may still attack you. There is only a thief who can steal for 1,000 days, but there is no such thing as a thief for 1,000 days. Adam smiled and said, I know, but I can only do this at most. But don't worry about me, things haven't reached that point yet. This is just my guess. She may not be so crazy. Hee. Juno smiled, pushed Adam away, sat in front of the computer, and started typing on the keyboard. Let me help you add some of her psychological activities. Great. Adam's eyes lit up and he clapped his hands. You are a woman, and you are also a supermaster of playing with psychology. You can definitely perfectly present her psychological process, which will be more touching and make people terrified by her perversion. Juno smiled without saying anything, and began to add the perverted psychological activities of Magical Amy at every important plot node. Of course, in this Vanishing Lover, the protagonist can no longer be called Magical Amy, and a slight change has been made. Adam looked at the manuscript that Juno had typed out, and it really brought to life the abnormal mentality of Magic Amy. Even though he knew the whole story, he still felt a chill when he saw Juno's description. The two worked until 3 in the morning to expand the story quite fully. This is still just a detailed outline. After all, tens of thousands of words are not enough to fully and delicately present the whole story. Adam also added his own understanding to it. For example, the diary of Magic Amy in the story, which recorded her husband's harm to her, was taken by the police and became an important evidence to prove that her husband killed her. Adam said through the mouth of the detective, who writes a diary, who would write down what's in their heart. Is what is written still what's in their heart? They must be whitewashing their mistakes and only writing the side that is beneficial to themselves. And this diary was burned in the fireplace. Why only a little bit was burned, and the clues found are still the game-like hints of the owner of the diary before he disappeared, which is too suspicious. Chapter 249. She won't. 3 o'clock in the morning. In the apartment. After you write it, don't rush to publish it. Let me take a look at it later. Juno smiled and said, let's try to downplay the private goods in it as much as possible. Otherwise there will be all kinds of female fist warnings, and people may think you did it on purpose. Okay. Adam naturally did everything he said. In terms of meticulousness, Juno completely crushed him. What she said was not groundless. In American TV series, this kind of copying crimes according to the crime process described in the book is simply the favorite of American perverts. Maybe at that time, people will suspect and accuse you of premeditated crimes and use this to get away with it. Of course, this possibility is not great, and there are many logical loopholes. Compared with the benefits brought by publishing a book to block most of the means of Amazing Amy, reveal this shocking possibility, and prevent the public and jury members from blindly believing in only one statement. This suspicion is not worth mentioning, and this time point is also very important. The sooner the book is published, the better. Because if you publish the book after the incident, others will think you are a custom novel, and your credibility will be greatly reduced. If the news is released in advance, it will trigger public opinion and shock people's views, so that everyone will have this string in their subconscious. When the incident happens and the lawsuit is filed, the credibility will be increased countless times. After all, this is common sense that everyone knows. Actually, you are right. Don't worry too much. Juno scanned the manuscript again and smiled. The reason why the magical Amy in the book is so fierce and willing to sacrifice her life to carry out a suicide attack is because she has nothing. Yes, Adam nodded. Although the magical Amy in the movie is very scary, her husband is not a good person either. As a down-and-out writer, relying on his handsomeness and eloquence, he forced the magical Amy to successfully marry him despite the opposition of his parents. At the beginning, everything was fine, with casual applause anytime and anywhere and surprise games on festivals, so that the magical Amy was immersed in unprecedented happiness. But when Amy's mother-in-law fell ill, Amy moved to her husband's hometown with her husband, and the illusion of love began to collapse. First of all, her husband has a sister, and the relationship between the two is not just as simple as siblings in her eyes, but has a dazzling feeling of soulmates. In the past, her husband would tell her everything, or she thought he would, but after returning to his hometown, he talked to her less and less, and instead often hung out with his sister, talking about all kinds of things. Then, he used her money to open a bar with his sister. He was just a down-and-out writer who couldn't even write a good book, and he didn't know how to run a bar. So, the bar didn't make any money at all. Instead, her husband went to the bar frequently and sat there all night. Then, the economic crisis came. Not only did her husband lose his job, she lost her job, and even her parents had a financial crisis. She had to use her trust fund to help her parents through the difficulties. But this annoyed her husband, because in his eyes, this trust fund was his. Now they were both unemployed, and their life enjoyment depended on this trust fund. How could he waste money on her parents? But the trust fund was hers, so he couldn't say much. The bad guy chose another way to resist, that is, wanton consumption, spending a lot of money on game consoles and the like, and telling her clearly, instead of letting your parents spend, I'd rather spend it. Wonderful Amy's temperament made her ignore all this. Her upbringing made her able to endure until her patience reached its limit, but she just kept everything in mind and waited for the list. And what was coming finally came. On the night of their engagement anniversary, she put aside her disgust for her sister-in-law and went to the bar, ready to spend the exciting holiday with her husband like a game as always. But her husband had long been tired of this kind of exaggerated game. To be more precise, after marrying her, he hated this brain-consuming brainless game, and at this moment, he was involved in an extramarital affair. He was a literature lecturer in college, with his Batman appearance, literary skills, and eloquence that could deceive wonderful Amy. He became the dream lover of many girls. One of the beautiful female students admired him very much. Not surprisingly, the two got together. At this time, his mind was full of flirting with beautiful female students. How could he remember that his wife at home was still waiting for his annual surprise? Then, the two of them did something in the snow, the most romantic thing he and wonderful Amy had done before. This scene caught the magical Amy, who had noticed it long ago, and she also got the explosion point she wanted. That's right, with her shrewdness, how could she not notice the changes in her husband after her husband had no mood to coax her and his mind was clear? She had long realized that she was in a dilemma of losing both her money and her life. All she wanted was a fuse explosion point. Otherwise, she would not have come to this bar that she hated. And it was precisely because she knew that she would not come that her husband would be unscrupulous and directly make out with the beautiful female student outside the bar, and reenacted the romantic act of making love with her. What magical Amy thought was, I have been patient again and again, but this time, since you have buried the uniqueness between us with your own hands, you are looking for death. So, she turned around and went back, and officially started the frame-up game that she had been planning for several months. That's right, this game did not come out of the blue, but was the product of her careful planning for several months. After her husband spent her money on those game luxury goods without her consent, she persuaded him to sign a huge accidental life insurance for her, with him as the beneficiary. Then, she secretly bought a lot of luxury game toys in his identity and hid them. She had no friends in this place, so she started to date the pregnant woman next door. She used her psychological manipulation to make the pregnant woman treat her as her best friend. She used the pregnant woman's urine pregnancy test to make the pregnant woman think that she was also pregnant. She accidentally revealed that her husband might have a violent tendency, so that after the incident, the pregnant woman's best friend told the story she wanted to tell the world. She spent a lot of time writing a whole set of diaries designed by her, saying that her husband beat her and wanted to harm her to reduce the division of property in the divorce. She was deeply disturbed and even bought a gun. On the anniversary of their engagement, after seeing the outbreak point she wanted to see, she went back and arranged the murder scene, designed it to be a premeditated murder, and cleaned up the scene. But this was just an ordinary person's cleanup. In the eyes of professional criminal investigators, it was full of flaws, which confirmed the evidence that her husband killed her. Then, she changed her appearance and disappeared, preparing to commit suicide in a distant place, completing the last step in completely nailing her husband to the ground. This kind of ruthless suicide attack is based on the loss of both people and money, and she has nothing left. Before that, she had endured it and was just quietly preparing for revenge. Now, her family is still wealthy, she has a house, money, and fame, and she lives a carefree life. Even if she wants to take revenge on Adam because of her strong desire for control and revenge, at most she is secretly planning various revenge plans, but she will not use such violent methods as suicide attacks. And she is not so determined, and she can't get close to Adam, so the harm of her methods is actually limited. It's so late, go to rest. Juno opened her mouth. Well, you should rest early too. Don't eat breakfast tomorrow, just have lunch directly. After eating, go shopping and go back to New York. Adam stretched and went back to the bedroom to sleep. Juno closed her mouth, walked to the computer, and read the manuscript again, her eyes full of thoughts. Chapter 250. Little Red Riding Hood knocking on the door. The next day, weekend, because he and Juno had been studying and analyzing for most of the night, the pressure on Magic Amy was reduced by half, and the motivation to write all day and night also disappeared by half. He calculated that according to the detailed outline expanded by Juno, the number of words in the entire novel of Vanishing Lover was about 400,000 to 500,000. At the speed of 10,000 words a day, It could be completed in 1.5 months. The revenge in the movie seemed so cruel and swift because the long period of time in the middle, which was measured in seasons or even years, was omitted. Even if Majikami wanted to retaliate against him, it would definitely take more time to arrange it, and it would not be done in 1 or 2 months. Therefore, there was still plenty of time. According to the results of the analysis with Juno, no matter how Majikami planned to retaliate, further contact with him was inevitable. With this warning signal, when Majikami appeared in his field of vision again, it would be the moment he didn't say that he hadn't warned him. After figuring this out, when Max woke up and bothered him in the morning, Adam had a morning exercise, and then the two of them went to sleep and slept until after 10 o'clock. After getting up and washing up, the four of them went to the restaurant for the famous brunch. I heard that this is a feature of wealthy areas. The richer the place, the richer the nightlife, the later people sleep, and many people play until the early morning. The opposite of going to bed early and getting up early is going to bed late and getting up late. At this time, how can breakfast be as delicious as sleeping? After getting up late, you missed breakfast, and there is still some time before lunch. Your stomach sends a signal at this time, so you should start eating. This mealtime that is neither early nor late has developed into brunch. In addition to the regional characteristics, this brunch is more suitable for couples. Couples fight to exhaust themselves at night, and staying in bed is almost a traditional skill. The younger and more in love, the more they stay in bed. No other reason. Tired. Adam remembered that during college in his previous life, his girlfriend was in the next city. Every time he met his girlfriend, he almost stayed in the hotel and didn't go out, and it would take the whole weekend. What about going out to play? It's just talk, and I'm too lazy to move. Taking a walk on campus is considered going out to play. Going to the park, once a month at most. At that time, there was no concept of brunch at all, so we just ate some snacks to fill our stomachs and waited for the big meal at noon. Now, being with Max, it feels a bit like the college days in my previous life, which is quite interesting. The combination of these two factors means that young couples in love in big cities are the main consumer group for brunch, and this group is exactly the most willing to spend money. Therefore, more and more restaurants in big cities are beginning to provide brunch services. There are even restaurants famous for brunch. It is best not to go to such places alone, because you will be hit by dog food. For example, Matthew, who is still a senior at Columbia University, likes to have brunch with Lily the most, because they are too in love, and it is almost impossible to get up early. In the future, during the period when they broke up, Matthew went to their favorite brunch restaurant to eat, and was particularly sensitive to the waiter's words, so he never went there again. The waiter asked him if he was alone, which turned into a sigh of pity in his eyes, and the groups of couples in the restaurant were even more dazzling. But he had become accustomed to eating brunch there, and he liked the brunch there so much that he later found a buddy and went there to eat there despite the risk of being misunderstood. Adam and his friends were 2 pairs of 4, so it was no problem for them to go to brunch. After eating, Adam didn't really have much mood to continue to visit Boston. He took a simple walk and flew back to New York with Max. Juno and Karen sent Adam and Max to the airport. On the plane, Juno and Karen, "Both are fine," Max said with some emotion. After sitting down, "Hi," Adam said in anger, "I'm right here. Are you still afraid that they will turn me into a lesbian?" Max smiled and said, "Don't worry. If I could turn me into a lesbian, I would have done it a long time ago. It's not like I haven't been with women before." Adam's mouth twitched, and he was speechless. Max's past has always been a mystery. Adam only knew that her past was unbearable to look back on, so he never asked, so as not to tear open the wound in her heart. Some wounds can be healed, such as the shadow in Chandler's heart, but some wounds can never be healed and can only be buried deep in the heart and never touched, such as Max's past. It is difficult to tell whether the words that Max often says are true or false, but it is certain that these shocking and jaw-dropping experiences are definitely not all made up. Some may be what she has seen, but most of them may be her personal experiences. So even though Adam wanted to gossip about the details of this woman trying to turn Max gay, he still held back. "Are Juno and Karen really lesbians?" Max asked curiously. What do you think? Adam shrugged. Karen is definitely. Max thought for a while and said. But I'm not sure about Juno. What's there to be unsure about? Adam smiled. The way she looks at you. Max looked at Adam meaningfully. I always feel that she is looking at you more than just a good friend. Huh? Adam was stunned, then smiled and said, Indeed, we are more than just good friends. We are good buddies. If I get married in the future, I will probably ask her to be my best man. Haha. Max just smiled and said no more. The plane began to take off and went straight into the sky. Adam looked at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window, thinking about the feat of mankind from the ground to the sky, and then to outer space, and couldn't help but be a little dazed. Magical Amy's house. Dad, Mom, I think your idea of going to New York to develop is a very good idea. Magical Amy smiled and said, although Boston is also a cultural center, it is not as good as New York, the economic and cultural center. Our Dunn family should have a broader stage. You finally figured it out, the old woman said with relief. In fact, your father and I have already started preparing. Since you agree, then our Dunn family will officially enter New York. Magical Amy ignored the fact that her parents didn't care about her choice at all, and smiled and nodded. It seems to be the power of love. The old woman looked at Magical Amy. A look of understanding flashed in her eyes, and she joked, is it that handsome guy Adam Duncan who touched the heart of our precious daughter? Without waiting for Magical Amy to answer, the old woman had made a decision. Go ahead, Mom and Dad support you. Go have a wonderful love, and remember to share the details with us when the time comes. Obviously, she didn't care about her daughter's happiness at all, but just wanted to use this opportunity to collect more and more real materials to provide a better page for her real daughter, Magical Amy in the book. You won't be disappointed. Magical Amy's eyes condensed and she smiled faintly. More than 2 weeks later, late at night, Magical Amy had just finished attending another round of farewell parties that she had been attending recently. She came to the empty parking lot in her high heels and got into the car. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the window, which scared her. Looking in the direction of the sound, she saw 2 red figures standing by the car window, smiling at her. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.